Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo Saturday edition. I'm your host and keeper of the Harry Channel, and with me tonight are Minions Geode.
Hello.
Is it Geode or Geodes?
Geodes.
Geodes.
You can call me Geo.
You wrote Geo there. Okay.
I call you Ray J.
No, God,
Yeah.
no.
There you go.
And or RJ. I'm thinking of that comedian sort of loosely in quotes, who did this skit where, you can call me Ray, you can call me Jay. He had this shtick that he would do. He would show up on The Tonight Show and just various things and just do this one thing. And that was like his whole career for a few decades was just doing this one skit that wasn't really all that funny.
That's who I was referencing.
Okay.
My name is Jeff. Oh, wait, no. Sorry, that's a different one.
I thought you were like making a reality TV reference with Ray J.
No, I don't think so.
Wasn't there a dating show with some sleazy guy, like For the Love of Ray J?
You mean the guy who helped boost the Kardashians to the status of which they are and thus needs to pay for all eternity?
Mercifully,
Yes.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I've never been more proud to be out of touch.
You knew his name, Harry.
Thanks, Assassin.
You're not that out of touch.
I knew the title name of the show. I've never seen it. Hi, Serenity. Oh, that's right.
Hello.
We have a Serenity Star 13. Say hi. And DrFunctional.
Hi.
We do not have Sora Luna because she is off celebrating May the 4th with like a screening of Star Wars.
Yep.
And we don't apparently have Skep because he's does good things for other people all the time, and he's probably tired and fell asleep.
Well, also, is he in that part of Texas that got flooded?
Maybe.
That's the thing. Like, I will not speak to it. Whether I know.
The joke's on all of us. He's just celebrating Star Trek despite the Star Wars nerds.
Yeah. I mean, I could do that. I don't.
To be fair, there was a cable channel that my mom was watching the day that was playing all Star Trek.
There you go.
That's hilarious. Man, I used to feel a lot better about being a Star Trek fan until all this Kelvin Universe nonsense started.
What does that have to do with Star Trek?
I tried watching STD, and I just got to like what was it, second episode, third episode, and it's just like, shouldn't she just be in the brig forever? Like, how is she even out? I don't get it. I can't.
I'm amazed you didn't catch a case, Harry. Just saying,
no
abbreviation. But
no, I can't. Yeah, I just can't. Oh, let's see. Well, we have people showing up. Cannibalistic Wizard, the Assassin of the Gray, and of course us. I think more people will probably trickle in as time goes on. So, see, Skep isn't here, so I have to actually competently try to pronounce everybody's name. I can't just offload the greeting people task to him.
Shemp 2.
Yeah, Shemp 2, Shemp 3. So,
we've got I can read them off. We got Assassin in the chat. We got Cannibalistic Wizard. I don't see anybody else.
I'm getting deja vu all over again.
You getting deja vu?
Yeah. I get deja vu all the time. Supposedly that's a sign of something, like early onset. I don't know.
Parkinson's?
Yeah, probably.
Dementia?
So, Geodes, how's it going?
It's been a good day today. I hung out with the guys. We ate pizza. It was a good time. We did what, back in the day would have been just a good time. Was just went to the mall, hung out. Yeah. So that was today. So I was happy about that.
Man, I still remember when the mall opened, like the local one, like there wasn't one. If you wanted to go to a mall, you had to get in the car and drive for an hour.
Go somewhere, yeah.
You had to go somewhere. And then the mall opened in town, and it just sort of killed the entire old Main Street. And it wasn't pretty.
And then Amazon killed the mall.
Yeah, and then Amazon killed them all.
It's actually kind of funny because up here in Canada, we were some friends of mine were talking. They're still like thriving up here. I know up down there, it's more the what do you call them? Serenity.
Well, like it depends on where you live. Like down here in West Virginia, the mall's still thriving because there's not many places to go. But like if you're anywhere near like a big city like New York or Chicago or Washington D.C., they're dying because it's like, well, I can go so many other places.
Yeah, and in those like, well, I think they're called like boutique stores or something, are
Well,
still.
there's outlet malls too, which are
Yeah.
outdoor ones that a lot of people seem to like better.
Mm.
Oh, nothing to see here's here. Hi.
Yo. Oh, and I am the Geodude cannibalistic lizard. Thank you.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Z
Very
is
there.
not silent.
Yeah, Geodes sends me a lot of links, and normally if it's something terrible and nobody likes it, I can just blame Geodes, even if it wasn't hit from him. But since he's here to defend himself, he can go, no, that's all you. That not cleansing palate cleanser, that is just all you, Harry.
True.
So hi,
You're
Serenity.
Hola.
Did you have to Annie-O clean any more animals?
No, not yet. The time of spring abundance has seemed to have calmed them down from.
Okay, so I'm gonna ambush
Hit me.
Serenity right now,
Okay.
and there's been something circulating around, and I think when I say that, you probably know what I mean. But as a woman who has encountered her fair share of wildlife, namely,
Oh, this question. I was
bears.
wondering if this was going to happen. All right,
How
go for it.
stupid are the idiots who are like, I'm gonna take the bear?
They're city people. I will pick a man
Yeah.
every single time. I will pick a man every single time.
Yeah, drunk
And
Russians
it's-
don't count. That's a different
I
category,
mean,
I
even
think.
gender aside, I've been face to face with a bear. I don't ever want to be in that situation again because I know my life is basically forfeit
Well,
without
those-
like knowing
also-
exactly what to do. You know what I mean?
Well, the problem is that the idiots who talk about it, they're like, well, there's only 6 bear attacks a year. It's like, no, there's 6 deaths a year from bear attacks.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen videos of
The
black bears.
mall.
'Cause- Well, there's black bears are worse than grizzly bears because for the most
Yeah.
part you can avoid a grizzly bear, because they live in a very small, like tiny part, unless you're in Canada. But like in America, at least, there's a very small, tiny part of the overwhelming United States that they live in. Black bears are worse. Black bears do not have any fear of.
Just want to
humans.
avoid them
Yeah, and it's like
at all costs.
and that's kind of the thing that bothers me with the question is that it's always stupid city people who, and it's like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, let's go down this path of you intentionally put, because a lot of people have been saying their child thing. It's like you intentionally put your child in that kind of situation. You either drop your kid late at night in a bad part of town, or you drop your kid near a bear in a woods where there's a high population of bears, which is usually it's a bad sign anyway because that means there's a low amount of food because that means they get desperate. I'm still picking the people because the amount of times that little kids have been pulled into safety by other adults, not just men, but women, men, whatever, and brought to safety and made sure they're okay is overwhelming in comparison to there could be kids that disappeared that no one knows that they got jumped by a bear. Like, it's just, it's like, tell me you're a bunch of dumbass city people without telling me you're a bunch of dumbass city
Yeah.
people.
Are you saying that bears raising babies in the wilderness to become wild children is false? Is a false narrative?
That's just
Serenity?
wolves. That's just wolves.
That's
Man.
wolves.
Yeah,
That's
it's wolves.
Yeah, as
but-
seen on
but-
TV.
But you never
Indeed.
know. Like maybe it could be a cub. You never know. Yeah.
It's also like it's this whole thing of the thing that makes me mad is that you have, and there's men who do this too, who are, oh well, there's bad, like I got hit on by a guy I didn't want to get hit on by and he didn't take no for an answer. Yeah, he's a piece of shit. The entirety of society will say he's a piece of shit. But statistically speaking, a guy not taking no for an answer, oh well, I'm always afraid that if I say no, he's gonna hurt me. That's okay. So you either
It's
have a
nonsense feminist propaganda. Like,
well,
to
it's
begin with.
one of those things that's like you have that chance with anybody. You have the chance of getting into an Uber who you don't know who is and they haven't been vetted, of them just turning around and killing you and you're done. Like, and people do that all the time drunk. It's like, shut up.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to. The problem is these modern women who have been influenced by modern feminism. Their instincts have been rotten. They've been rotted away. They don't have, because normally you'd say, yeah, trust your instincts. You're walking down the street and guy coming to, it's late at night, and the guy coming towards you is giving off a weird vibe. Yeah, detour, walk across the street, do whatever. But the instincts have been so eroded that it's like now it's just simply man. If there is somebody with a penis between his legs walking down the street, you are now in mortal danger. And it's disgusting.
Don't worry about it. That was just me queuing up a Biden thing. Just carry on.
I thought you were preparing like a soundboard there, Harry.
I have a soundboard. Wait.
Oh, he always does. It's just it's also the fact of like but it's just the whole fact of like, one, tell me you don't understand. Tell me everybody you're asking are either massively suburbanites who've never actually been anywhere that's actually worth any while that's wild, or you're city people, because only
I've been
you
camping.
idiots. Yeah,
It's just camper in an RV.
I mean, still, you've been closer to wildlife than most of these people they're asking. And it's one of those things where it's kind of like, it's the same thing I always say whenever guys talk about only meeting bad girls. Okay, there's a certain point when you have to acknowledge the fact that the common denominator is you. If all you're meeting are piece of shit men, the common denominator is you. Because I have met considering what I worked in, which was a university, I have met hundreds of good, nice, even when they were drunk off their asses, young men and young women. Have there been the few douchebags? Yes, but that's the entirety of human society. It's the same thing when guys talk about the fact that, all women are gold diggers. No, the women you chase are gold diggers. You're not choosing right and blaming the entire half of a species because you can't choose right. This is all on who you pick. This is not the entirety of society.
The big problem, and it kind of stems, kind of a lot of what we talk about, I think, is that you have a bunch of people who are raised on, we could say, false narratives or false framework on how to navigate life, and they've got nothing else. So what are you doing? You have nothing else. You do one of two things: either you look in the mirror and try and figure out what went wrong, or you take the easier option, which is the double down, which is usually what's happened.
Well, there's also the whole fact of that being an actual victim, there is no power in. When you make the choice to make yourself a victim, you have a control of when you are the victim. And that's universal for all of this stuff. When women make the choice to paint all men as pieces of shit, they are the victim and thus they have power. When men make the choice to paint all women as gold-digging bitches, they make themselves the victim whether they act when I acknowledge it or not, then they have the power. It's like the people who are like, well, I'm non-binary. No, you're fucking not. Even if you were non-binary, you're still making a binary because you're making a binary and a non-binary. Fucking stop it. You're just some pathetic loser who can't handle the fact that your life didn't go the way you wanted to and you didn't get the attention you wanted.
Yeah. The sad part is, both of those extremes, the extreme men and the extreme women who see the opposite as extreme, like, they're perfect for each other.
Yeah, they are. I wish
they really should just get together and fuck. They can fuck the shit out of each other.
Well, that's
and leave
the thing,
the rest of us alone.
They do, and that's the problem, is that they're the ones who get on the internet and then talk shit. And then they end up destroying the ice, they end up destroying the nature of everyone online, because you then get the chronically online idiots who think all people of whatever gender, whatever, are pieces of shit. And it's like, they're not. I have met so many good guys on the internet. As a female gamer, do you understand how many times I've been told that I should have been called a stupid C word, and I never have? And I've played WoW since the early 2000s.
Oh, dude, even before, and, obviously I'm an avid WoW fan. Even before they started going super, super woke, there was the whole, you really wouldn't hear much of that if you ever did. I don't think I ever did, unless it was like, two people got into a heavy spat. But I mean, it's the internet. The gloves are off. You're going to throw shade, and you're going to pick the easy targets of, okay, male, female, whatever. But and even still, even the still a very tiny percent of the population, but even still, the ones that I encounter in the game, they never really said anything like that either. There are a couple that, on both sides that are just prickly pears. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. You got told to go back to the fucking kitchen because you're a bitch.
Yeah. It's like the way you react. Like I knew a girl in university who anytime a guy would say, go make me a sandwich, jokingly, like they were intentionally trying to piss her off, she would huff and puff and get pissed. And they would do it with me. And I was like, I mean, I'm not hungry, but why would you want a sandwich right now? And then they would leave me alone because I didn't care.
Dude,
and they said it twice. and that was done.
Dude, like ever since I've been back on Twitter, my 2 most typed words are calm down.
Yeah.
And it is immensely satisfying to see how easy 2 simple words can trigger somebody. And we're not talking just women, men too. When I say like calm down, and it's the type of men you would, air quotes men, that you would expect, but they get so livid. They're like, how dare you use a sexist epithet against me? What, you must hate women. And it's like, whoa, dude, this is perfect. I told you to calm down, and you are taking it to the 12th degree.
Yeah.
You guys are so feisty, I don't have to do anything. This is great.
Yeah, it was just, I get tired of the discourse on both sides because it's like, I hate the discourse of the bullshit that the men who stand up for women in a good way, but still they don't fully understand because they've also been browbeat by the bullshit of, well, women have always been subjugated. It's like, okay, first off, statistical likelihood, if you look at the actual numbers of rape throughout history, even if you quadrupled it, it was never even close to a quarter of the population it happened to, first off. Second thing, even marital rape in the old days was looked down upon. It was not something it was only allowed in a judicial sense, but even then people were often ostracized for it. Thirdly, women could have money. This whole thing of like women couldn't have bank accounts till 1971. Women could. It was just you actually had to have someone who had capital at the bank in order to open it. And statistically speaking, that was a man. Most people didn't have credit. It wasn't just women. Most people didn't have credit. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Like, there's the archetype for Gaelic last names. If your last name is like Brewster or I can't think of any other names right now. If it's a TER, that means that a woman did that job and that was the title that it was given because she was a female, which means that your own surname comes from a female having that job. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, there's an unwillingness to just acknowledge the fact that maybe things aren't as sexist as we thought they were. It pisses me off. It's just like...
I can make you be more pissed off.
I was gonna say though, one thing too with the guys is like we all know that Corn Pop was bad, dude. Thank you, Joe Biden.
We do. We have to do this May the 4th thing because this whole thing with Mark Hamill was just so freaking cringy. So let's do it.
Mark Hamill's always been cringy though. I have friends who've worked cons who've talked about him being cringy all the way back.
Yeah, it's just do better.
First of all,
yeah.
Star Wars Day up until 2012, and I'll say this every goddamn year we do this show.
Okay.
Star Wars Day was May 20th, the release date of A New Hope, and shall ever forever be May 20th. So stop being a faggot. Stop giving it up to retards with their stupid puns. I hate
Mark Hamill's the one who showed up at the White House, so I'm just working with what the world is giving me.
No. I know.
He's not mad at you.
I'm not speaking to you in the slightest.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking generally. You know how passionate we get when people invade our hobbies, and the tourism of Star Wars is the one that I've snapped. I can't stand it anymore. And I'm just gonna cut myself off there because I don't want to go down the whole rabbit hole. And I'm actually interested in seeing what the hell happened.
Well, the first thing we can see here is that Corinne Jean-Pierre actually looks happy to be doing her job for the first time in like forever. Because normally she'd be walking out going, I have to try to explain the unexplainable of, as part of my job. And Ducey is sitting right there in the front and he's just going to be an asshole. She knows that's what her daily life is. But now she knows I'm going to run up there, make my little surprise announcement, and then Ducey's not going to be able to give me a hard time because Mark Hamill's going to be here.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
I wonder why.
This is going to be...
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday. Don't say things don't get exciting in here sometimes.
She's so happy.
There's no introduction that really is needed here. I have a special guest, as you can see. Mark Hamill has decided to join us on this wonderful Friday. I am really excited to turn it over.
Oh no. This is so painful.
How many of you had Mark Hamill will lead the press briefing on your bingo card? Hands? Yeah, me either.
God.
A little on the quiet
It's-
side for me.
Yeah, a little bit.
I've got it boosted all the way, and it's there's nothing I can do to make it louder.
Love
Oh,
it
well.
all. But listen, I just wanted to say I was honored to be asked to come to the White House to meet the president.
Yeah, and he called Biden Joby Wan Kenobi. I'm not here. It gets worse. Hold on.
Oh, yeah,
Boomering it badly today.
Always.
May the fourth be with you.
Always.
what?
There you go. You happy
What-
now?
What'd you say during the Christmas extravaganza that the White House hosted? This is your tax dollars at work here, people.
Yeah. Well, Mark Hamill's trying to prop up this failing ship. You know, he's busy bailing, has a little bucket out and he's bailing on the Titanic. Things are not going well in the White House. And Mark Hamill's just going to throw his considerable gravitas into the ring. And then there was that terrible meme that I showed you that was pretty terrible. You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Am I going to get in trouble if I show that?
I don't know if you should, Harry.
I think you should.
I'm thinking it's
Alright.
pretty bad.
Do it. Do it. Give in to the dark side.
Functional woke up and chose violence.
Okay. I feel like we already need a palate cleanser.
I bet he no. I see. The thing is, he was on the right track when they were filming the sequels, air quotes sequels, because he spoke out against the like, why are they doing this to Luke? Like, no, he was the beacon. I guarantee you, he got one of those talking tos from the institution to be like, oh, you're going down a dark path there, buddy boy. You need to repent and repent hard. Something similarly related that I wanted to get into in the preamble, but I never got to. People probably heard that the DEI wokeness stuff invaded Warhammer 40K. And two of the three biggest investors in Games Workshop, the company who produces Warhammer and all those other games, that they have like 95% market share, so it's incredible. The number one investor just last week decided to sell a whole bunch of shares.
Yeah.
Funny how that works, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know how much you
patterns, guys. Just noticing some patterns.
I know how much you like and I mean by dislike the critical drinker. And he was doing this panel thing where they were talking about this very topic, and I was listening to it in the car, so I couldn't see what was going on. And then I hear this voice show up, and I'm like, that voice does not sound like one of the regulars. And I'm like, wait a second. It's Carl Benjamin, a.k.a. Sargon of Akkad.
Yeah, he's attached himself to this entire thing, which tells me he's desperate for attention.
Yeah, and I'm like,
usually?
and I was thinking of Functional. I was thinking Functional would be even less happy.
I used to really enjoy Sargon, and it's
Same.
not that I hate Drinker. I hate he can be very well spoken and he puts together very good videos, but he just doesn't really do much of that anymore. He just bitches and whinges and complains and moans and something I would consider to be very female, very effeminate in his conduct of his conduct.
I just wonder if the critical drinker will be the the connection to Carl Benjamin getting on Piers Morgan. Just saying, that could be
Wow,
God,
that's some Alex Jones level of thinking you're going through here. But can we talk about the thing that's in the thumbnail before I forget? Since we are 25% of the way through the show, I want to at least get to the things here. So the Romans made these copper alloy. They don't say brass. They don't say bronze. But they're like these copper alloy dodecahedrons, which is a a platonic solid with 12 faces, of which they're all pentagrams. And at each vertex, there's like this little ball sticking onto it. And each of the faces has a different size hole into a hollow dodecahedron. And as far as I can tell, nobody knows what the hell these things are for. In fact, they go on to cite this one person who's an expert. According to Lorena Hitchens, a doctoral student in the UK studying all the Roman dodecahedra of Europe, there are many unknown theories about the dodecahedron's use as a gauge, a rangefinder, a candlestick, a die for gambling or gaming, or knitting gloves, for example. She says that none of these theories are supported by evidence. Yeah, she's like an expert, but she doesn't even have any idea. Nobody knows what the hell these things are for. I was just curious if you guys knew anything or had a suspicion.
Well, it's like the thing that makes me think that it's something just every day that they were used to having is the fact that we don't know what it is, and that's always what happens whenever a culture goes, oh, don't worry, the next generation will know what the fuck we're talking about, because that's what the Egyptians did with their one ally, who we still don't know who their ally was, because they called them something but nobody else calls them that, so we have no idea. They just said they came from the east. It's like, well, thank you, that's not 50,000 miles of nothing, thank you.
Yeah.
But it's like, so it's like, the fact that it has different sized holes makes me think it's a game. Like, you roll it and then you have to throw something through the hole and you get points or something like that. Like, but at the same time, it's like, it's going to be something stupid. I can guarantee you it's going to be something stupid.
I'm pretty sure that they were ancient vessels for containing demonic entities.
There you go.
And that's how, we got released into the world, Gozer and Biden and Kamala and
There you go.
the Clintons and George
Sure.
Soros.
Everyone thought it was a box, but no, this is Pandora's. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah,
But I can see why it would be something considered to be a part of knitting, because we have similar things
Yeah, we do.
today, with the nodules, different size holes and such. But I'm right there with you, Serenity. It looks like it's just a piece of forgotten tool, if you will, that, like, even today, even look at the percentage of people in the West today that know how to farm has dropped massively over the last 3 decades.
Well, functional, there's something I want you to consider, okay, in any theory that we try to use to explain this. This is not an easy thing to make.
Yeah, it's not.
You wouldn't, the fact that it's made out of some weird alloy, sort of like brass, somebody really went out of their way to make this thing just full stop. This is not like a mass-produced thing that says made in China on the bottom of it. This took somebody real effort. So whatever the theory is, it needs to to make sense, it has to sort of explain why it would be made the way it is in such an expensive, almost extravagant sort of way. This is a luxury item, so I don't see it as a thing for just darning socks.
The thing is like, well, the thing is that, one, the fact that we have no written text about it that we could find in Roman Empire is one of the most, like, written texts, it's part of the existence that we have, means that it had to be something that was used by either normies or slaves. Because if it was used by the rich, we would have, like, showcases of it on pottery and stuff like that, because that's the pottery that survived because it was in the safer parts. So that means it could be used by artisans depending on what it was used to make. Because if you used it to do, like, metal cording or something like that, or you used it to, like, not make armor, because there's ways to make the armor because the armor wasn't that impressive, but something like that. But it had to be, because it's also, they found it in, 4 or 5 different countries?
Well, most of them are in sort of the Mediterranean, obviously, but they found about 30 of them in England.
But that's
for the
another
UK.
thing. But that's the thing, though, is, like, they found them in England and the Mediterranean.
Yeah, where
There's a
Romans were.
bunch-
Yeah.
Well, I know, but the thing is like, that means that why would you have it be that far away from main Roman territory if it was something that was super duper expensive, unless it was something that was used, it was something that was needed. You know what I mean?
It looks like a measurement tool to me, personally.
It very well could be a measurement tool. It could be a measurement tool for wheat. Like, like pasta, like, you go, all right, this is this much, this is how much you pay me.
The reason I say that, though, is, like, I have a it's technically like a, what are they? It's like a wrench system. It's like how you get like the different sized wrenches, but I have a tool that actually has them on like one head that you rotate around to adjust for different size. It kind of looks like that to me. So I'm wondering, if it's some kind of measurement tool for a very specific thing, you know. So.
Well, it's a mystery. I just first of all, I like platonic solids, and second of all, it's not very often you see a knobby dodecahedron. I mean, let alone that it's an ancient artifact that nobody knows what it is. It's cool. I like the fact that we don't know what it is. It's nice that there are still things we haven't figured out.
Not knowing is the other half of the battle.
Yeah, not knowing.
Well, it's like also those holes could have filled with glass if the glass broke and fell out through, or it could have been filled with leather. It's a whole bunch of different things that could have like, but it's the size of a grapefruit. Like let that sink in. It's about the size of your hand.
Yeah.
A small candle in there would be
that's
cool.
why I agree with you. It looks like some sort of tool or something like that. Specifically, I can't tell. Like, I mean, obviously nobody can, but
someone's gonna find something stupid. What's like there was a story of this was years ago. They found like Viking tools that were made out of bone, and they didn't know what they were for. And then a female leather worker, who came to the museum and said, "Oh, this looks like a thing I have to make." And they were like, "What?" And she goes, "Like, I'll show you." And this was back before social media, so she came in the next day and showed tools that she had to make herself because there was no one around to make them to help her with doing tannery and everything like that. And they were like, "Holy shit, that's made for leather!" And it was something that they didn't even think of.
Nice.
It was a sharp tool, so it's like it's one of those things. There's so many giggities in this, but it's just like that's the thing. It's going to be something that every person does the forehead slap of. And you're just like, God damn it, that's what it's for. We're idiots.
I look forward to a follow-up. And here's a very smooth segue. Speaking of follow-ups, we talked about this whole minimum wage thing and how it was never going to work out the way people said it was. What do you think of this?
The internet is going crazy over a Zoom cashier in this New York City restaurant. A new restaurant chain with several locations across the city is deploying hostesses from the Philippines on Zoom to help with checkout. Zoom cashiers working abroad are way cheaper than workers in New York City. The minimum wage in New York is $16 per hour compared to the $3.75 average pay in the Philippines. Not to mention, these virtual employees can work at multiple locations at once.
There you go.
Yep.
isn't that illegal?
Nope.
Yep. I'm not
Because
logged into
technically-
YouTube, so this is interesting. It's fun to see what YouTube gives me just sort of randomly. So I'm just like an unknown quantity, and this is what I get. Okay, cool.
But it's one of those things. It's the reason why it's not illegal is because technically they are not working in the U.S. They are working for a U.S. company that is streaming them in, but they are not working for the
Yeah,
U.S.
but people are just going to
in
find
the
ways
US.
around it. They're going to automate it.
yeah.
They're going to, there's so many ways around stuff. Like the real minimum wage is always going to be zero. So I have something which I think is kind of cool. Well, I mean, it's not cool. It's actually terrible, but I think it's kind of an interesting story. So imagine you're in San Francisco. You're just
No.
I know. I know you're never going to be in San Francisco, but just imagine that you were a person who was in San Francisco and something like this happened. Couple shocked after
I've
tow
seen
truck
that,
tries to
yeah.
nab their car.
Yep.
So they're just driving down the street, and while they're in their car in the street driving, this specialty towing truck is trying to basically jack their car with them in it.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I've seen the video for this. Is like people were like recording him and telling him to get away and like calling the cops, and because he's very obviously not a legit towing company because he doesn't have a number or anything like that on the side of the truck.
Okay, they are actually legit. Sort of.
Oh, shit.
Okay,
Oh.
because they're so legit, in fact, that the San Francisco city attorney had to suspend them because what they've been doing is illegally towing cars and then making it hard for people to come claim them. Like they're supposed to be able to claim them 24 hours when this sort of thing happens. But they make it hard to get access to them and restrict the hours and stuff so they can jack up the fees. And they've been doing this over and over and over again. And the city's finally looking into just smacking down on these guys. And it was
I
a
think this was
handful
like-
of them.
I think this is the first time that they like got caught on camera doing it because they were
Yeah.
trying to do it like live.
Specialty Towing and Recovery Inc. So yeah, they are legitimate, or at least they were. Right now, they're not supposed to be doing anything in the city of San Francisco. But just imagine, you're already like going. At least we're in our car, so we're not going to have to step and poop. But then something like this happens. I have to say that I didn't anticipate this would be a real thing. But I guess it is. There's the evidence right there. Wow. Kind of amazing, actually. All right. Well, another follow-up. Remember I talked about the solar sail thing last week? Well, I have a little more information about it. It's actually like a small CubeSat. So it is a NASA project, but it's been put together. I think they're running it out of Santa Clara University. So I could swing by there and ask them what's going on. I didn't know that Santa Clara University had a robotics lab. It's a big kind of Catholic private university in California. It's in the middle of Silicon Valley. But apparently Santa Clara University robotics lab is doing mission control and was involved in putting this CubeSat together. And they launched it on an Electron rocket in New Zealand. So this is like big science on a very, very small budget. I still think it's cool. I also like this picture. But
Well,
yeah.
it looks like the sail things from Tron.
Yeah. Kind of like.
They do the.
But as of last week, I didn't know there was a connection to Santa Clara University. I did not know that it was a CubeSat, and I did not know that it was launched in New Zealand. So, and it's up there, and they're deploying. The communications is working. They're going to deploy the sail, and we're going to get a test of this thing. It's about freaking time, because honestly, this is about 30 years later than it should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's gotten so much cheaper to put stuff into orbit. Now we can do stuff. Also, we talked about the eclipse a few weeks ago, right? And no big deal. But maybe this is what is making people nervous. Maybe it's this. So I found this comic book cover, Mystery in Space, a double-length Adam Strange thriller, Shadow People of the Eclipse.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. Adam, don't try to save me. If you enter the beam of the eclipse, you'll turn into a shadowy figure too. Maybe they knew something I didn't know. I didn't know eclipses had beams, first of all, but maybe they were just raised on this crap. I'm not a comic book person. I don't have it in me. But I think this is pretty funny.
Yeah, you don't like anime either.
I don't like anime either. Anime's stupid. Weebs. Screw 'em. Let's see. Oh, we do have a Canadian here. So,
Where?
yeah, Functional.
Name and shame.
Functional. Is this even remotely true?
Showing an American what grocery prices in Canada are like.
You can buy one bulb of garlic for 50 cents at home. $4 for two.
Yeah.
Really?
$7 for a head of cauliflower.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
$7 for a head of cauliflower.
It's like California places.
No, that's not like California prices.
We get a carbon rebate.
I can pick those up off the side of the road. They literally fall off the truck, so you can just get them for free.
We all know how Harry does his shopping.
Cauliflower is abundant.
Yeah.
$7 for a head of cauliflower. Wow.
But like I said, we get a carbon rebate, so
Cinnamon
it
spiced
evens
honey.
out.
$18 a jar. 2 for $17. Sparkling water, 2 for.
The thing that's funnier is that this is probably Vancouver because of how she's dressed. She's dressed like a Northwestern bitch.
Yeah, she is kind of Northwestern basic.
For the American, I don't know about Canadian women.
Cowboy
If that's a Canadian, that's an American woman.
She's fine.
Oh,
I mean,
no, it's just that she's dressed like that part of the country, though, because that's how they all dress out of Seattle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyone north of Toronto and Montreal.
But these prices are like normal,
It isn't a
right?
price thing. It's just look at what
Actually,
French
it's a little
people
low.
call goldfish.
Crystal Leon.
Just get myself the tiniest goddamn bundle of for $30 dry.
No, she sounds Northern Ontario.
$30.
Well, you said that she's an American, so she has to
forget
live in
any
America for a while.
But it's yeah, like she said, the two cloves of
Showing an
garlic for
American.
$3.49 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like now it's probably maybe another 50 cents or so more.
Wow. Wow, that's pretty rough. how do you guys like afford to eat?
We don't. I mean, it's a huge issue. It's hopefully why Trudeau's gonna fucking lose the election when it's called.
Well, I'm sorry. You should do something about your leadership because this is terrible.
Some of us are trying, but I mean, I have little hope because, like I said before, we elected a literal avowed communist as the mayor of Toronto. So I don't see there being much hope for us. So please, can we get some American intervention?
I'll put my futon in the shed for you, man.
I have faith in Quebec's secession. That's about the rate
They've threatened secession for so many fucking years and never done anything about it. It's like, okay, I know you're French, but god damn it, there's a certain point you need to put up or shut up.
It would be funny if they did. But,
Oh, it would. I would laugh my ass off. But it's still.
Speaking of secession, there was this story. Wealthy white Louisiana residents win right to split from Baton Rouge, or as I like to call it, Red Stick, and form their own city. New city St. George holds first public meeting following state Supreme Court's ruling. Yeah, because I'm sure that they would love to just force these nice people to just be part of Red Stick, pay a lot of taxes, and just suck it up and be grateful. And just do whatever stupid thing. So here's the mayor of Red Stick, and she's probably very upset that she's losing all this delicious tax money.
Oh, she's gonna sue. That's what it sounds like.
Well, the thing is like,
no, she lost.
80% of their revenue for the Baton Rouge comes from that small part.
Don't care.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is that they voted for this years ago to separate, and Baton Rouge tried to stop them, and then they went to court, and now 4 years later they're finally able to separate themselves, and now they're claiming it's racist because it's mostly whites. Now there are black people in that group, but they're claiming. But yeah, she's lost 80% of her income.
I do believe, from what I remember hearing, she is going to try a different type of lawsuit. Because the other thing is like, while this isn't precedent for this specific case, there was a situation similar in Atlanta, Georgia, with a area that wasn't allowed to separate because they were a massive tax base. So we'll see how it goes. But
well, EGO, do you remember Brexit, right?
Yeah.
Now, Brexit, a lot of people said, it doesn't make sense. Why would you do this? This is stupid. Well, if you look at what happened in the European Parliament, England or the United Kingdom would send representatives to Brussels. 75% of the time they would get voted down.
Yeah.
So they would go there, participate in the process, and the decisions that came out of Brussels, the vast majority, a super majority of those decisions were not in concordance with what the English people wanted. And I know I'm being sloppy. I'm using English and UK interchangeably. I don't care. The point being that if you have the ability to leave, it actually forces these people not to just use, I don't know, the tyranny of the majority to just get their way. If you can just say, well, okay, fine. You do whatever stupid commie bullshit you want to do. I'm going to screw you guys. I'm going home to my new city. If this was Parks and Recreation, it would be Eagleton.
I completely understand that. I'm just saying that that's not going to stop them from using every trick in the book to continue their tyranny.
Of course they will. Of course they will. Of course they will. But I have no sympathy for her because I'm sure that if things were being run properly, I have no doubt in my mind that they wouldn't have gone through all this trouble to get away from these people.
Well, so Ruin Leon did a video on it.
Okay.
And also Nate the lawyer did. And from what was found out was that the people who live in that more affluent part of town, their kids were being bused to the complete opposite side of town to a school that is absolute dog shit. And they said, well, we want a school that's closer to where we live because that makes sense because our kids shouldn't have to be bused all the way across town because Baton Rouge is not a tiny town. It's not a tiny city. And they said, no, we don't want to pay for it, even though, as we now know, 80% of the revenue for the area is coming from that one small part. So that's when the proceedings started. That's when they decided they wanted to break off because they want to build their own school where their kids can go because apparently that school, I think it was middle school and high school, are absolute dog shit and have like some of the worst crime and they don't want their kids put in danger because, God forbid we put kids in danger. And that's what basically was the starter of all of this, which was, I think, the only way she's going to get them to stay is if she somehow goes, okay, we'll build a school over there. Because I have no doubt in my mind they're just going to keep suing back and forth until someone runs out of money, and I can guarantee you she'll run out of money before they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Lisa in the chat is saying that she did the. Gosh, what am I trying to say? That she's living through the whole Brexit thing. And I remember when Brexit was voted in, when that vote passed. I got into like a weird sort of Twitter spat with somebody I just really didn't expect to get into a Twitter spat with, and it was one of the people behind the Facts channel or something in Ireland. And I mean, it's not like a huge channel. Maybe it's big enough that they go, and she's one of the principals kind of behind it. I got into a weird Twitter spat with her, and I just calmly said, what I said to Geodes about the 75%. Why would they stay in a thing where they're just constantly not in agreement with it? Is it just their jobs to just stay there forever and just sort of suck it up? And I was very polite about it, and she just stopped talking to me. She didn't ban me or anything. She just stopped talking to me because I think it's a pretty persuasive argument. If you're not in agreement with a group of people, you should totally be able to secede. I completely support the people in Oregon, Eastern Oregon, who want to just go become part of Idaho. Because why in the hell would you want the idiots in Portland deciding what you're going to do in rural Oregon?
Well, I mean, but also, like, the English now understand the reason why America said, "Fuck you." It's like that's the exact reason. It's like, except they actually had some semblance of representation. We didn't back then, and it's like now you understand. Yeah. And it's also like, why would you want to have a monarchy and a dictatorship? Because that's basically what the ruling upper echelons of the EU are. Because their main principle over the body of countries doesn't get voted on by anybody, and they're there for life.
Yeah, the whole Brussels government is just a huge boondoggle. It's
bullshit. It's like, why are you all not voting like every 3 or 5 years?
Man, being an MEP's got to be one of the cushiest jobs in the world.
I know. Yeah, I was so hoping for the Italian exit, and then that
no, they're pussies.
She did not live up to potential. I mean, expectations.
She did not. It was
Maloney baloney.
She was always going to be. She was always going to be a fucking pussy. She was.
Yeah.
Like they're Italians. I'm sorry. These are the people who got bowled over by Mussolini, who was a fucking coward. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm not.
Nice.
Historically
nice mustache.
speaking, you all also decided to do death panels for 70-year-olds during the coup, because instead of actually dealing with your bullshit, you were just like, oh, you're over 70, now you need to die. Like, fuck off, you coward. Get away from me.
Yeah.
Well, we could talk briefly about the Gaza thing. I think without getting just briefly. Not too much. So Kevin O'Leary made a statement, said Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary says pro-Palestinian student protesters are screwed because employers can identify them through AI.
She's not wrong.
And he goes on and makes the point that the stuff that he's seeing in background checks, because it's just all out there. They're just putting everything out there, and then they show up and just go, money, please, and employers who look like this guy just kind of go, no.
Well, it's like I saw a video of a.
Why is he wearing 2 watches?
Because he always has.
What the hell?
That's just who Kevin is. He's weird. Just let it go.
Okay.
But there was a lady who, she did a background check for a job, and they send the copy of the report to the person they're doing the background check on, which was her. And she's like, oh, I'll just see. And she was like, everything's there. It's like, yes, you moron. If you put your name on something and sign up for everything without going through an anonymous email account or something like that, even then you're still going to get tracked. It's like, of course they have everything. Why do you think most of you aren't getting jobs? Because they see all the crap you spout online about, I'm anti-capitalist. I don't want to do this. Why would they hire you?
Yeah, this is the reason why I don't attend public events anymore. For even just political conferences.
It's bad enough that you hang out with us.
Yeah,
well, I mean, considering my luck in who I run into, it seems I think it's probably for the best, anyways. But no, it's one of those things where it's like, I keep hearing the argument of oh well, you need to stand for something. You're going to eventually have to put your money where your mouth is and actually step forward and
I always put my money where my mouth is.
I know, and it's one of those things where I'm sitting there kind of going or they're talking more like signatures down paper, and I'm just sitting there kind of going do you really want to be on a list? Is that really what you want?
Do you really want to be on another list?
another list.
Another list.
It's like I'm just sitting there kind of going like, I'm not saying that there aren't things worth fighting for, but but that's one of those things. Like you can't just pick any hill to die on. It has to be something that you really, truly, honest to God, care about. So that's like you gotta pick and choose carefully where you want to exert your energy. So
yeah,
and even then, I'd be very smart about it. So
well, Assassin brings up a point about names being on lists and stuff, and I can tell you a really quick story. I was walking back to high school from the public library with a group of people. We were doing research for a report we were working on. And the police had just started doing some truancy enforcement thing. But our arms were full of books. Okay. We were walking to the high school. Okay. So we were walking to the high school with arms full of books. And this cop comes over and starts trying to give us a hard time. And he was being kind of a douchebag. I mean, I don't think I'm really hostile to authority, but I'm really not good with idiots who kind of abuse their authority. So this guy started asking for all our names and stuff, and after he'd wasted a whole bunch of time because it's just stupid because we were going to be late.
How well Harry could deal with wasted time.
I just said, look, it's called truancy abatement and burglary suppression. We're obviously not truants. We're obviously not burglars because even if we did steal something, we wouldn't have any capacity to carry it. Can't we just go to school, which is where we're walking anyway? And I said, this is just a waste of time. And the guy said, well, we could waste some time down at the station. So I just said, hey, okay, that's what we need to do.
Harry.
So I was in the car, in the back of a police car with three of my friends, all of which were
looking at you,
they were all just completely freaking out. And one of them was like the super Christian good girl, and she was sitting here, how am I going to explain this to my parents that I got arrested?
I would have taken a library book and started hitting you with it, to be completely honest. I would have been like, God damn it.
And going down the station. Well, it turned out that my name was actually similar to the name of somebody that they were looking for. And that's why we were getting hassled.
So there was not a massively good reason, but there was at least a half decent one.
I mean, it ended up with us getting apologies from the captain and all that sort of stuff, and people I knew yelled at them and stuff because the guy was being a complete idiot. But I just sort of knew, I knew that I had just enough juice that it wasn't going to be an issue. Yeah, but the people who were with me were kind of freaking out. And in hindsight, it probably wasn't the nicest thing of me to do to get them them worked
get
up.
Yourself in trouble, Harry. Get yourself in trouble, not them. have some respect for the people who you were wandering around with, bud.
Pick and choose battles. Pick and choose battles.
Yeah.
we all know that. Like, I'm amazed Harry doesn't still know the officer's name. You still know the officer's name, don't you?
No.
Okay. Considering everything else
Officer
that we know
Shemp.
about you. Yeah.
Officer Shemp. Yeah, I know the name of the 83-year-old tiny 5-foot woman that tried to kill me with her car when she hit me that one time. I know her name.
There we go.
Oh boy.
Selective grudging.
She was like this 5-foot tall, like 83-year-old Asian woman. Not that the Asian part has anything to do. Yeah, not that that has anything to do with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was fun because that thing about names, because you see people who can't get on airlines because their name is the same as somebody who's on some watch list, and the watch list doesn't have all the identifying information. They just have these databases, and if your name is kind of sort of like some name on there, then you're just kind of screwed. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yourself Muhammad?
Yeah.
Oh no! I'm not going to give my name because I'm not going to dox myself.
No.
But
no.
I have 3 names: first, middle, and last name. All 3 are boys' names.
Nice.
They are not short for anything. They are stereotypical boys' names. I have gotten harassed by the military the minute I turned 18. Every single branch of the military was calling my mom's number, my cell phone number, constantly going, well, he needs to join. And I'm like, he is a she.
Yeah.
Because this was back in the early 2000s when they were more concerned with just getting guys. And it was just like the amount of times I've been called Mr. Da-da-da-da-da and stuff like that. And
guys are awesome.
It's one of those things that's really funny. Oh, the amount of times that they're like, oh, well, we're waiting for so-and-so. It's like, so-and-so's here. They're like, they are? I was like, yes, it's me. Oh, I'm sorry. We thought because of your name, I was a boy. Yes, I'm completely aware of this. This is not the first time my mother did this to me. Can we move on now?
Yeah. Yeah, I know it says Brody Clem Cletus, but that's not, no.
Still female. Was born this way.
Yeah.
That's where you turn to your mom and she just goes, "We all make mistakes. Let's move on."
Oh man, I was trying to pay attention to chat and I completely derailed the show. I'm sorry.
Well, the funny thing is my mother has the same problem because her mom did it to her, so it's a so
I see.
So it's that whole fact of like she's like, I suffered through it through the 60s and 70s. You have to suffer through it now.
Good job.
So, but still, it's one of those things where it's kind of like I completely understand the whole name thing because it's just like I have dealt with that my entire fucking life.
Yeah.
Welcome to my nightmare. Well, it's actually hasn't been that bad. It's always funny. I get more kick out of watching everybody's faces when they realize, oh shit! It's like, yeah, not a dude. There we go.
So you're familiar with the idea of a princess carry, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's something here, but it's not quite a princess carry. This is the other fun thing that I found from the Gaza protests. If there is a silver lining, it's this video.
If it's the one dude, getting carried. Yes, it is. I love this. You're hurting me. You're hurting me. He can't claim racism either because it's a black guy. Can't claim racism. Princess, if
he dropped his water bottle.
I know, poor baby.
Aw, that's
sure
beautiful. That is so beautiful.
If this was a few years ago, I would sure mommy and daddy appreciate having to pay for this. But we have all learned in the last decade that these morons take out massive loans and then just live a lifestyle that they shouldn't be living on those massive loans. So I'm sure his loan officer is like, yes,
just be a graduate student. Yeah,
a lot of the people that have actually been arrested aren't students at any of these campuses, and that's the specific reason why a lot of them are being arrested because they're clearly trespassing.
Yeah.
And I can make the counter argument, but I can see the argument of, okay, well, they're students, they have a right to be on the campus.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Let's throw that aside. So you're clear and decisively trespassing on a student campus that you have nothing to do with. You get hauled off. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Well, especially
because they're defacing things too. Obviously. There's things being, some bad actors are smashing things. It's not as violent as some protests as the last recent memory, but the amount of like garbage and filth that they're leaving lying around. Even one campus, I think it was Columbia, had, get this, Harry, gender neutral buckets to relieve yourself in and to defecate in.
I'm telling you, we just need to send these people to send them to Gaza and Sierra Leone and let them live in the third world country they very obviously want to live in.
Yeah.
Like,
enjoy.
Shit if you want to. Go to town.
I mean, they're defacing everything except the reputation of these colleges because what is there left to deface? But no, anyways.
Well, I mean, to give credit though, like the colleges are finally going, okay, we're done. We're not doing this anymore, and they're calling the cops on them. So they're actually in a weird way, in some cases, helping the colleges salvage their reputation. Because now the college can be seen as going, we're done. We're not dealing with this shit anymore. Get the fuck out. We allowed you to protest. You're defacing. Get the hell out.
Yeah.
Way to go, morons.
Let me see. Let me just make sure this is okay.
It'll cause that sort of snapback pendulum swing the other way, in that it actually might force the post-secondary education systems to not be piles of woke trash. Well, they might start saying, okay, you know what? We're done with this gender ideology shit. Let's cut the whole department. And you know what? We need things that did make us money, like STEM graduates or this or that. Like, these people are where we're going to put our focus and money into because we want to make money. I mean, their business is like any other. They need to make money.
Well, from the connections that I have working in the university system, and it reaches out a good bit, there's been rumblings for the last few years of less and less people applying for the less lucrative degrees. And this, I've had a few friends say that they've started to see rumblings of like people who are normally on these kind of protesters' side getting tired of it because it's kind of like, you're not helping me become something worthwhile, and you're embarrassing me because you're making us all look like idiots.
Yeah.
So there's starting to be a tiny bit of the pendulum swing back. There's starting to be a pendulum swing back of, no, we don't want to be a part of this because we don't like what you're doing, because you're basically, in some cases, they're basically being called out as lazy fucks too, because it's like,
Right.
oh, you just want to mooch because you have all these funds who are paying for you, but you don't actually pay for your own stuff. So at least from everything I've heard, the pendulum swing has started. Whether it's going to get stuttered or not, it's going to depend. But
Yeah.
We'll see. But I wanted to ask you guys about this, since I've got 3 gamers on the panel.
I have no idea
I
what
saw
that
that
is.
I called you a gamer, and I'll do it again. There's this. Why are we treating esports like it's a sport? Do you really need performance-enhancing supplements for esports?
You just need caffeine.
I mean, in the way that, since we're on the topic of higher education, in the way that some of those prestigious degrees are very competitive, yes, but it's not a sport.
Well, I know that
I mean, some of these games, Harry, they're very, they require a lot of brain power. So to be, highly stimulated with stimulants and caffeine and all this other stuff, like it's kind of important to them, and that opens up another niche market, right, for other enhancement products. So I understand it. I don't like it. But.
The biggest problem is it's kind of like with things like not so much like Gatorade, but like energy drinks. Like when they pitch them, those drinks can be extremely useful if you're in really high intensity sports, but that's not who they're marketing them to.
Yeah,
and
they're
that's
not.
the problem.
Yeah, they're marketing to like plus-size people wearing athleisure wear.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, the thing is, with a lot of, like, for instance, esports is getting so weird because it's such a money sink, but they don't really make that much money. Like, Moist Critical, aka Charlie, if you watch any stuff, he's because one of his people who's an esport player can't get through U.S. immigration. He's suing U.S. immigration. Like, that's how far up their own butt these esports people are. Like, there's
a lot of money there. So when you're
the
missing
thing
out
is
on,
like I haven't seen, because I've seen the cost breakdown of a lot of stuff, and it's like, is there a lot of money, or is it the perceivance of a lot of money? Because it's like most of them are barely breaking even. Most of the people who head up these esports divisions have to have other jobs. Like, they're paying these players a ridiculous amount of money. It's just
but
like,
it's kind of like streaming, right? You have a lot of the sort of middle class who really are the people you're really talking about, who they might have other jobs and whatnot. But then you have the Joe Rogans, the Tim Pools, the Sargon of Akkad, the people who have really big followings and make an entire comfortable living off of what they do. And then you have the schlubs at the bottom, like us, who are just, Joe Schmoes with microphones, and we like to come together and talk about shit.
Not Harry. He's grabbing his energy drink as we speak. He's good to go. But,
yeah, it's called tea.
Yeah, I mean, even when we're here, talking, doing this, we none of us are big energy drink people, but
No.
we've got our teas and coffees and sodas, and we like to perk ourselves up a little bit with some caffeine. And so, I understand it. I again, like I said, it's a niche market. If there's a market for something, there's somebody who will take advantage of that market. And thank God bless that, because I love that notion.
How much is it?
Capitalism always wins.
Well, it's like you have to subscribe to it.
Yeah.
How much is this fucking shit?
Yeah, when you notice that they don't tell you the price up front, you're supposed to. They're trying to suck you in to this thing, and then at the end, once you're convinced, then they'll tell you what the price is.
Well, it even says 20% off up to 20% off if you subscribe.
Our best focus pill. Oh, look at these graphics. Ooh, it's pretty cool. Caffeine is obviously a pretty good performance enhancer, and there are certainly things that can help. The main thing is that if you practice under certain sets of circumstances, you really want to compete under the same set. When it comes to a lot of mental things, that's consistency in terms of how you train and how you perform. You really want it to be kind of the same. You don't want to train sort of normally and then like right before you go on and compete, then get all jacked up on caffeine and betel nut or God knows what else.
Okay, so apparently it's $30 a bottle.
Woo.
And it's 28 tablets in a bottle, so it's $1.07 per tablet.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go the monthly subscription, which is $23.91 a month.
Just stay hydrated and don't waste your money on this stuff, people.
Well, they also get like a weird, like a spray bottle of something, free vitamin KDA.
Okay, this is approaching a level of autistic I can't cope with.
Yeah, I'm just like, what the KDA? Like, why does it have the same initials as the fake girl pop group?
Okay.
Why is it just why?
Let's make fun of somebody else. Speaking of things that are kind of autistic.
ADA is Kills Death Assist, though. It's, like gaming stuff.
Firefox power user keeps 7,400 plus browser tabs open for 2 years.
Why?
What?
Why?
How?
Like, is it plugged? Is the computer connected to a nuclear reactor? Like, what is? Like, the fuck?
A software engineer has been keeping nearly 7,500 Firefox tabs open on her Mac computer for over 2 years. Now, that does mean that when you restart Firefox, you get the same tabs back if you've got it set up. This doesn't mean that their system has run for 2 years solid. It just means that they've been maintaining those tabs for 2 years.
Hey,
and, yeah.
I think you're right. This is the version of the smoke alarm for white people. Just saying.
It is the version of the smoke alarm for white people.
The problem is that I've seen non-white people pull this bullshit. So this isn't even white people. This is just autistic idiots. And like, what the?
Yeah.
Where's your RAM usage, lady?
So Hazel ran into issues. At one point, she was not able to restart her browser and have it restore all these things. So she had to actually go online and find other nerds to help her figure out how to get Firefox to restore her tab cache.
Did none of the nerds go, stop it?
No, it's an affectation, and they couldn't help themselves. So I did look at Hazel's Twitter feed.
Oh, Jesus.
And I think Hazel might be trans, but it's not really significant to the story, but for whatever it is. But I found this. Hazel posted this Vine infographic, which I really like. United States, rest of the world. So this is comparing Fahrenheit and centigrade.
Yeah,
this just made me laugh. 100 inches in 8.33 feet versus 91.44 centimeters in a yard. This is great. Fahrenheit, normal and colloquial. Rest of the world, centigrade, weird and unnatural. This is one of the most contrived arguments I've ever seen.
But I like it.
I like it.
I stand with you, Hazel. I stand with you on that one. Don't make me not stand with you, you bitch.
This is actually pretty good.
I've seen this one.
37.85 centiliters in a gallon.
Yeah, I've seen this on Tumblr.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah. Lowest temperature recorded in Danzig by 1708 AD.
I do love the fact that their little title thing is Sodium Pen, and their bizarrely optimistic thing, you and young and stupid, pretend engineer. At least they own up to it.
Yeah.
So respect, Hazel. Respect.
Hey, at the very least, even though you are an insane person for keeping all those tabs open and then telling us about it, because it should just be your private shame, honestly.
Yeah, just keep your
if you're
mouth
going to do something this silly, just don't admit to it. But at least I got some giggles out of your Twitter feed.
Cannibalistic Wizard, what you are looking at right now is a side effect of the Raid Star energy drink that they're recording. Just throwing that out there. So yeah.
Yeah. Good times. So, Functional, since I know you were a fan of pop culture and the movies, is Unfrosted real inside the true story behind the history of Pop-Tarts? So I was trying to figure out, why was Jerry Seinfeld all over my feed? Because he's out promoting some new movie. So him and Jim Gaffigan put together a movie sort of loosely based on the origin story of Pop-Tarts. Have you heard anything about this?
No.
First of all, I love the idea of Jerry Seinfeld and Gaffigan collaborating
doing
on this.
something. Yeah, it's interesting.
And they were having trouble getting anybody to show up for the casting. They had basically a bunch of cards with roles and nobody several days before they were going to start shooting. And then Hugh Grant said, hey, I'd kind of like to be in your movie, and can I play Tony the Tiger? And then suddenly all sorts of other people wanted to be part of it. I kind of want to see this movie. I think this could be actually good fun.
This actually sounds like it'd be funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, two smart comedians wrote it, so I think it would be hard for it not to be funny. So
it's like I can get behind that. Plus, I love Pop-Tarts, so I'm there for.
Oh God, I love Pop-Tarts.
They're amazing. Are they fake stuff? Abso-motherfucking-lutely. Do I give two flying shits? No.
Hell no.
They're Pop-Tarts. You know what you're getting. Shut up, Europeans.
Well, in terms of the Pop-Tarts things, they actually called them Pop-Tarts because they were alluding to the pop culture and the pop art of that guy, the almost albino looking guy, Leary. Why am I spacing out on his name? Warhol. Sorry.
There you go, Warhol.
Man, I'm really. I need some of that gamer medicine. I need some of that stuff.
Performance enhancing drugs.
Jesus Christ. Now, Paula Poundstone, another comedian, has a great bit that she does about Pop-Tarts, where she basically rationalizes her way through why she eats a box of them a day.
Damn right. I love her early stuff. She kind of got real dark toward the end, but her early stuff was awesome.
I like Paula Poundstone. She had a show that was on a variety show thing that she put together. And she did a segment, it wasn't on for very long. She did a segment where she took Nobel laureates in economics and put them on the teacup ride at Disneyland and then shouted questions about economics at them as they spun by.
I feel like a lot of them, if I remember the show right, I think a lot of them actually enjoyed it because some of them had fun with it.
Yeah, I think I was her demographic, not like people like me. I think I was her whole demographic for that show. I was like the only person I know who really loved that show.
All right, everybody.
Your Nielsen number is
go
1.
On the internet and find it.
You actually, I've tried. If I could find the teacups thing, I would have already done it. And the Pop-Tart thing, the audio was terrible, so I didn't want to subject you to it.
Everybody is saying brown sugar Pop-Tarts in chat. Is the best.
I like the fruit ones. I'm really more raspberry. Raspberry is my favorite Pop-Tart.
Raspberry's good. Wildberry, when they bring it back every once in a while, is damn good. And I'm a s'mores fan.
Okay, Pop-Tarts are not good in toasters. They're much better. They're much better in the oven because you have a lot more control. But I'm going to tell you my dirty secret about Pop-Tarts. Okay.
Uh-oh.
When I cook them, when I do them in the oven, I like to put a little bit of salted butter on top of the frosting.
Oh, you do them in the oven?
Yeah, I do them in the oven.
Giggity.
Top shelf with just a little bit of butter on top.
Of course you do.
So good.
I
love a Pop-Tart.
We don't need this to devolve into a pineapple on pizza debate. Okay, we don't need this. We don't need a Pop-Tart debate.
Hey, all pastries are better with more butter.
At least in my neck of the woods, Assassin, the apple cinnamon ones can be hard to find because my mother loves those. Those ones are a pain in the butt to find. The s'mores one you can find no problem because I love the s'mores ones.
Yeah, I like the ones that taste like red. The strawberry and raspberry. Those are my favorites.
I'm a strawberry Pop-Tart man myself.
But honestly, I'm looking forward to this movie. I think this movie is going to be a lot of fun.
It sounds like it's fun.
Well, I mean, talented people. It's not like a big deal. It's not like people were taking. It's like it was taking itself too seriously. This is going to be a good time. I can't imagine how it wouldn't be.
Well, the thing that's a big deal too is the fact that because like Hugh Grant is notoriously a pain in the ass to get to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he was like, no, motherfuckers,
he called them.
Yeah, I know. It was like, that makes me want to see it. Because Hugh Grant, when you allow him to be the smarmy Brit he is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
He is funny as hell.
Yeah. Well.
There you go.
I have another thing for functional.
Oh my God.
So I brought up Carl Pilkington a couple times, right? And I mentioned that there are compilations where they've leveled out the sound volume and just sort of like, here's 6 hours of Carl, Ricky, and Steven, and you can sleep to it. It's like, here, it's to help you sleep. It's just the quiet sound of English people making jokes, right? And a bunch of people, I don't know if it was you or the people in chat that said, that's terrible. That's my idea of hell. I don't want any part of that. So.
Oh, I think that was me.
Okay.
I believe that was me.
So I present to you
my own bullshit.
Fragile Peace, a Star Trek bedtime story.
Oh, Jesus.
So, Star Trek bedtime story, immersive sci-fi ASMR.
Hello there.
So it basically it tells like a Star Trek story that you can go to sleep to, and then let's see, and then it just has atmospheric noise for several hours afterward.
Ugh.
I must be allowed to clear.
So is this better? Is this a sleep aid that would help you, Functional?
No. Listen, Harry.
Yeah.
I did not send this to you. You found this on your own.
Oh, I totally found it on my own. I totally found this on my own.
I want that stated for the record.
Yeah, I mean, everything about this I hate. I don't like the fact that it's ASMR. I don't like the fact that it's some creepy Star Trek fan fiction thing. I don't like any part of this. I want this to die a fiery death. The video, not the person. It's just absolutely terrible. Okay, so we all agree this is awful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right, moving on.
All right.
Oh, you just wanted confirmation that it was awful.
Yeah, I wanted you to share my pain is what I wanted.
I was like, you suffered, so we have to suffer. I see how it is. Okay.
So have you ever seen these African sky islands? Do you know what I'm referring to? They're like these huge mesas where the top of them, it's like a sheer face going up, and then the top of them is like almost impossible to get to in most cases. They have them in Africa. Like the top is essentially up in the clouds. And what you end up with is they're so isolated, you have like these little isolated ecosystems as if they were islands in the middle of a vast ocean. So you end up with, ecologically speaking, scientifically speaking, these things are hella cool. But people with modern technology are now starting to actually get up to the top of these things and kind of mess with them. If there was ever a reason to have like a national park and just sort of set aside a few things, this seems like it.
Yeah, well, it kind of makes me wonder how long until China just shows up and just or France. Let's be fair, it's France and China.
Yeah.
Just show up and just level the shit.
And they're full of like weird ass plants and animals. Like you almost expect to go up there and just find a dinosaur. I mean, it's like that kind
Africa
of
would be the
bizarre.
place. Africa and South America are the two places I expect someone to find a fucking dinosaur. I legitimately do.
Yeah, so there's like weird plants, weird animals, all sorts of stuff on top of these things. And they're so tall that you can't just like paraglide up to the top of these things. These are like horrendously hard to get up to. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of government intervention on things, but I would really like to see them, since they're such unique ecosystems, and it's not like it's really commercially that viable anyway, to haul ass all the way up to the top of these things. They're isolated for a reason. Mm-hmm. They're really hard to sort of commercially exploit. They really should set these damn things aside.
It's Africa. They're not going to do it. If anyone has learned anything from my state, mountaintop removal is a thing.
Yeah.
It's gonna. Right now, I guarantee you, China and France are both having a wanking contest to see who can get to it first.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But I mean,
like
this
Macron, like, I'm fucking my teacher from when I was 15. Let me get in there.
This really
China,
is just some full-on Jules Verne bullshit that we're talking about up on top of these things. There's a reason why I don't have a lot of pictures up here, because people just can't get up to them.
And this is actually how they found Hollow Earth in the Godzilla King Kong universe. That
Really?
they got going on right now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not good. I did see Godzilla -1, and that was fucking fantastic. Like, people were like, "Oh, it's such a good movie, such a good movie," and I went to watch it. I'm like, "Holy shit!" Like, even the way that people were ranting and raving about it didn't do it justice enough.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Critical Drinker likes it.
Good. I'm glad he likes something.
And Mahler likes it, or Mueller, or whatever the hell his name is.
It's
Well, he goes by both, which is annoying.
For the record, I was trying to make a joke. I didn't actually know that's how they found it. Oh crap. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not exactly, but it's very close to how they've done the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the Godzilla movies. Like, don't go into it too much with.
Yeah.
To be too logical.
There was actually a just to kind of nerd out a little bit here. There was on one of the Tarzan TV episodes back in the day from the cartoon Tarzan. They had the Hollow Earth thing where they went under like a volcanic rock at one of these mountains and found a whole dinosaur ecosystem underneath the earth. But anyways, that's beside the point. I just was like,
Well, let's make Serenity angry.
Go for it.
So you're familiar with what's going on in the world of Doctor Who, right?
I stopped watching Doctor Who when Matt Smith came Doctor, so beyond that, don't care.
Okay. Well, the new person who's on here is this guy, and Nakuti got. I should just say Shemp. Yeah, it's really hard. So he's basically pissed off. He's been Black Doctor Who condemns celebration of white mediocrity. Well, we have to be absolutely flawless. Yeah, because the scale is so tipped against you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
Well, the thing is
who's celebrating white mediocrity? First of all, that's just a preposterous statement.
I guarantee you, he's probably one of those people who was one of the "we was kings" morons.
He's one of those people that's just an oppression. He's just like trying to monetize his supposed oppression, and he's monetized it all the way into being the lead character in a show that I don't think anybody watches this anymore. Their numbers have to be terrible.
Not very many people, just because I mean, Doctor Who went through these ups and downs anyway, but the last few years have been. It's just like I said, I stopped watching it Matt Smith because I didn't care. Matt Smith wasn't a bad doctor. I just didn't give a shit. And then Capaldi, I didn't give a shit. Jodie didn't give a shit. This one didn't give a shit. If they had gone from Tennant to Dr. Donna, I would have been right there with them. But they didn't.
They lost all their goodwill long ago.
But it's one of those things where it's kind of like Russell T Davies is back, but proved that much like Moffat, it was lightning in a bottle moment. The David Tennant era, not that he's any good. And I guarantee you, considering I think they're both gay men, I guarantee you the only reason why he got the job was either A, Russell T Davies wants to, or he offered.
He
or
already
there was
had.
there was some couch coaching going on because he's not
Allegedly.
that good of an actor. Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah, some Weinstein shit going down. Anyway, but it's one of those. He's not that good of an actor, to be completely honest. And this is gonna come off as massively racist, but we're gonna go with it. Most Nigerian actors out of England aren't good actors. They really aren't. They've only gotten as far as they have because they can play the Nigerian. I'm an African, raised in England. I have a British accent. You need to give me a job. Most of them are not good. They're just not.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's not white mediocrity. It's Nigerian mediocrity, and that's the only reason why you have a job is because you fit a quota.
Nobody's celebrating white mediocrity, and nobody is expecting this guy to be perfect.
Oh, absolutely.
He's just laying the foundation for his future failure.
Oh yeah, because he'll be forgotten. Because Jodie Foster now, like, she doesn't get any jobs now, because no one wants to touch her.
Wasn't she supposedly okay in Broadchurch?
She was.
And you're calling her Jodie? Didn't you call her Jodie Foster? I think you mean Jodie Whittaker.
Whatever the hell her name is, I don't give a shit.
Jodie Foster is the chick from.
I like Jodie Foster.
She's the chick from that Carl Sagan thing.
Yeah, Jodie
Contact.
Whittaker, sorry. Yeah, I Jodie Foster actually has.
I like Jodie Foster. She's good.
Jodie Whittaker. The thing is that she was air quotes good in Broadchurch, but Olivia Colman and David Tennant just thwacked her out of the
Olivia
water.
Colman is annoyingly talented.
She's and she seems rather genuine. But the thing is, when you have people like Olivia Colman and David Tennant, your other actors don't have to be that good because David and Olivia by themselves can carry scenes.
Yeah.
They could be in a room full of paper and they will carry that scene and it'll be fan-fucking-tastic. If it's the two of them together, you don't give a shit about the other actors because they don't matter. But like a lot of stuff that's coming out of ITV and BBC right now, a lot of it's just bad. Like, I tried watching the ITV knockoff of basically Stranger Things. It made no sense.
Oh, cool.
And I really like a couple of the actors who are in it who are really talented. And I'm just like, were you desperate for money? And then one of the actors announced that they wrote their own play. And I was like, oh, you were desperate for money. Okay. Because it's the only thing that makes sense. It's called Passenger.
Yeah.
It's
my one-man show. It's off Broadway. Yeah.
No. Passenger is the show that the person did. That's like a 6-episode Stranger Things knockoff. It's basically Stranger Things and Lost.
Yeah.
And it's just not good. But anyway, it's like there's just a lot of stuff because there's a lot of, and I'm going to go against the grain with this one. It's not millennial writers that are the problem, because if you look at a lot of the writers, most of the writers are Gen Xers. It's Gen Xers and some millennials. Yeah, but there's a lot of Gen Xer writers who are just terrible. And it's just like, you all can't write, stop trying to write. Or you could write at one time, but the air has changed, and you all need to accept the fact that maybe you need to be the overhanging showrunner, but maybe you should let other people who actually can write. Whether that's millennial, Gen Z, other Gen Xers, I don't know. Because as we've seen, millennials and Gen Xers can write. They can do it. It's just a lot of the ones who've gotten in power can't. Like the guy who wrote Riverdale, terrible writer. Russell T. Davies, I had respect for you at one point. You're no longer a good writer.
Well, bad writers, every generation produces them because most writers are bad. It's the good ones that stand out. Why you would hire the bad ones, I have no idea. There has to be like a special circumstance for hiring them.
Yeah, agree.
Special list that you have to check off certain boxes with.
Yeah, it's possible.
Misfit said in chat that would have been at Whitaker would have been a good doctor if the showrunner and the writing staff weren't horseshit, which I agree with. She's just
wacky. Yeah, same thing with Capaldi. I mean, he's a fantastic actor. But the writing and production staff were just inept.
Capaldi is really outstanding, and it was sad to see him saddled with such a terrible thing.
Yeah.
But we have another controversy, another potentially race-based controversy. I'm not saying that it's race. I'll let you decide for yourself whether race is an issue here. But the Food Network put out their Spring Baking Championship, and apparently a not insignificant number of people, it's not just a few people, a not insignificant number of people are pissed off because they took the guy who's like trained in France, really, really good, and kicked him off so he didn't go to the finals. And the woman on the left made a pretty good pie. And people are thinking, I think the thumb was really on the scale for this thing. So they're making claims like they need to do blind testing, blind tasting of the desserts. And it's absolutely ridiculous because they're thinking that maybe for reasons that have nothing to do with performance, it was important for the woman on the left to advance to the finals.
Is one of the judges Paula Dean?
No.
Okay, well, I just saw an overweight white woman.
Duff Goldman was there, so that's...
he's a Portland boy, so of course he's going to favor the non-white person.
Duff Goldman? He is. He's from Charm City.
Duff?
Yeah.
Charm City wasn't that?
That's on the East Coast. It's Baltimore. He's from Baltimore.
Well, once again, Baltimore.
Okay, don't blame Portland for this. But okay, but here's the. There was an article on Screen Rant. Spring Baking Show champion star slams fan who accused show of being too politically correct. So this nice woman is busy claiming it had nothing to do with anything other than it's fine. Because we would never.
She looks like a trustworthy person.
She looks like a bitch.
It had nothing to do with DEI, and we can totally trust her.
Well, what was the thing you said a while back, Harry, in regards to?
I've said so many things.
I was gonna say there's something about certain politicians or certain people in power of a certain gender and ethnicity that are going to make it much harder for other people who actually have talent or who are good at certain tasks to be able to get in the future.
I said that they're creating a PR problem.
Yeah.
What's
and that was specifically I was talking about mayors. It's the Spring Baking Championship. So
that looks like Paula Dean in the background.
Yeah. Is it Paula Dean? I thought it was some other chick.
I'm just saying
some other butter bitch.
I'm just saying, Harry, you might have to expand that a little bit. That's all.
Yeah. So. The thing is, Duff is just, I don't know. It's all just assumptions on my part. But when they say that this guy is like trained and he was like basically the superstar every single episode and then just somehow magically on very subjective criteria got knocked out before the final, I can totally believe that Food Network would put their thumb on the scale for reasons.
Oh, the reason why Cadre is defending it is because she's one of the judges.
Yeah.
There's Duff. Who's the other person? That's a terrible name, lady. You need to lose weight. Her name's Nancy Fuller.
And who's the idiot on the right? That Tyler Florence wannabe.
I believe that must be the presenter, because that's not. I think it's Jesse Palmer. I think it's Jesse Palmer. Because-
I don't miss having cable because I don't have to watch this crap. I just don't care. I freely admit that as a straight white male, I totally love the Great British Bake Off. I watch it. It's like sports. It's a fantastic show. They do blind judging on a lot of the stuff, unlike how they do here. And I've never once had the impression that they put their thumb on the scale, even when the outcomes made it look that way. It always seemed legit. But I don't know. This kind of stinks.
For Harry, that's MMA. Like when you have the conflicts of which food is best, they force each person to eat each other's dishes and see who keels over first.
There you go.
Yeah.
Dude,
first.
I'm like, I'll sit on the edge. I mean, I actually get stressed out because I want to know what's going to happen. It's extremely engaging. I could be accused of being a bit of an Anglophile.
There you go.
Yeah.
We all have to have a hobby.
The thing I like about it versus the American things is there's no bravado. Everybody is very humble. Everybody's very nice. They like help each other out. And maybe it's all fake. I don't care. I've bought into the lie. I like the Great British Bake Off quite a bit. It's like sports, but it's edible. And I don't know, it's perfectly entertaining.
Sports.
Yeah, it's edible sports. Esports.
Not edibles sports. Edible sports. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, Cheech and Chong were off hawking their wares on some TV show and stuff, and I was thinking, I've never done pot, but if I was in a room with Cheech and Chong and they said, "Here, try this," I would feel a lot of peer pressure. I might actually cave.
Yeah.
That's like if you're hanging out with Willie Nelson and he, hands you something, it's like you just go, "Yeah." That would be a lot of peer pressure. I mean, I would like to think I would do the right thing in the circumstance, but I might be a weak person.
I liked Born in East LA, but I don't like it enough to be pressured.
I don't want to be pressured. I don't want to be peer pressured into doing stuff.
Now, if you were one of those people who tried pitching as like, hey, this could stop your appetite, because there are those types of things, I'd be like, well, let me think about it.
Okay. Well, I haven't made Serenity angry yet, so let's see if this works. Joe Biden calls Japan and India xenophobic nations that do not welcome immigrants. How's that working? Did we lose her?
I think she had to step away from.
She isn't going to find out about this. It's like
he's insulting another one of your allies.
Wanting to control what goes on in your country does not make you xenophobic. That's just a slur that they throw at people.
And it also goes to show his information isn't up to date, because if you have been watching what Japan has been doing,
they're letting more people in.
They're
all
letting
of a
people in.
Well, not a lot, but
not
some.
a lot. But the people they're letting in are raising eyebrows. Let's put it that way.
Who are they letting in?
A very peaceful religious group is coming in a lot.
Why? They already have their own weird suicide religious cults. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that and also there's a lot of people from across the that little like watery strait that are coming in, which to me I'm like, neither of those are good. I don't know why you are letting either of those groups in, but neither of those are good. So
yeah, it's going to be Cinco de Mayo tomorrow, and being in California during Cinco de Mayo is it's fun because basically it's just sort of Latin 4th of July. Things are going to be exploding. People are driving around with cars with big Mexican flags hanging off them. It really is just like the 4th of July, just for Mexican folks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to get loud. Mm-hmm. It's going to get loud. I fully expect there to be lots of explosions and fireworks and stuff. At least they don't seem to shoot their guns in the air quite so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There you go.
But that being said, if you're going to give me a bunch of immigrants, people that often work hard and make good food and generally aren't at odds with the things I believe and care about and think to be important, we're way better off than what Europe is doing to themselves. It's like, why would you let people in that hate you and everything about you and just,
I have my theories. I don't know how much of it's accurate, though. I need to probably look into a bit more, because part of the problem is where I'm getting the info from, I don't entirely trust. So let's just put it that way. But.
Yeah, I had some religious folks come by, knock on the door a few days ago, and it was like these two older guys, and they were looking for Spanish-speaking people because I guess they were, recruiting for their Christian thing. And even though I'm not part of their club, I'm not Latin and I'm not particularly religious and stuff. I was really nice to these guys. Actually, one of them had a really snappy hat, and because I thought about it, it's like I have way more in common with these two gentlemen politely knocking on the door, just sort of asking if somebody in the neighborhood speaks Spanish because they want to go talk to them about Jesus than I do, most of any of my neighbors for the most part. It's like, I'm not going to be mean to these guys. I really generally have no problem with it. I mean, those MS-13 people need to just be shot.
Yeah. Well,
deported, shot, then shot and deported, trebucheted back over the border. I have no patience for people like that. But decent people, not a problem.
I'll say this much in terms of kind of my thought process here. I'm going to try. I have to be careful how I phrase.
Well, I just talked about a deportation trebuchet, so you're probably good.
Oh, let me put it this way: when the founders of a lot of these countries were thinking about, a multicultural like nation, basically. I mean, I don't think they were picturing bringing in a lot of people who weren't interested in respecting the existing culture, and I think they had their ideas of where a lot of people would be coming from, mostly from where they themselves were from, but I don't think they were completely closed off to the idea of elsewhere, as long as those people were willing to integrate. That's not happening, and that's the problem. Exactly. So it's like and that's kind of like Razor, who I don't listen to as much anymore, but he pointed out, in the past, the way we'd do it, we'd let people in for a while, then we'd close up shop, we'd let them integrate, try and work on that, and then once that they were kind of integrated and we need more people, we'd rinse and repeat. But we're kind of at breaking point here, and I imagine that a lot of these other countries are trying something similar, probably for either a labor pool or maybe they're getting some kind of financial incentives. I don't know, but it's just a bad idea. It's a really bad idea.
Yeah, as ideas go, it's a pretty bad one. But one nice thing about Mexican folks is they are naturally pretty conservative culturally. There were a few initiatives that happened in California where it was really the Mexican Americans who shot them down. There have been a number of propositions where people in San Francisco are like, yeah, this is going to be great. It's going to be progressive. And, it's all the terrible Sodom and Gomorrah stuff that they're usually pushing. And it was the Mexicans that voted it down.
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for. So, yep, it's fine. What was, let's see, what were you talking about there just a moment ago? I lost track of where we were going. Okay, well, Joe Biden does that.
We talked about Japan a little bit.
We talked about Japan a little bit. So here's what I've got in a section I like to call bold thinking. Okay, somebody who knows how to kind of think outside the box. A German art gallery employee snuck in his own art in hopes of a breakthrough. Now the police are involved.
Hey, man.
Yeah. A modern art museum in Germany has fired one of its employees after the facility said that he added a personal touch to an exhibit, their own art. According to a Munich newspaper, Schemp Zeitung, the self-proclaimed freelance artist was a 51-year-old man who worked in technical services at the, Pinakothek des Moderne, a modern art museum that holds more than 20,000 pieces, including works by Picasso, Magritte, and Dali. And for a short time, the employee, who was not named in the local report, hung up a painting measuring almost 2 feet by 4 feet. A spokesperson for the museum said they weren't sure how long the painting was up, but that they don't believe it was up for very long. The supervisors noticed something like this immediately. Yeah, I mean, if you want to get noticed as an artist, just get a job at a modern art museum and then just put your own crap. Just put your own crap up. Yeah, why not?
There you go.
Sounds like a bad premise for a rom-com.
Well, what was that one back it was several years ago? It was like some college student stuck like shoes against the wall and pretended it was an art piece, and people actually treated it like one.
and it's just like, yeah. This is where we're at.
Oh yeah, Assassin's asking about like if they're conservative, why are they voting Democrat? Well, if you and I were having a beer and not on the air, I could tell you a story that hits way too close to me that would answer your question really well. But the short answer is because the Republicans at the time, when they should have taken the opportunity to embrace these people, decided to be a bunch of idiots, and they didn't do it. And the Democrats instead did. So the Democrats actually captured a lot of the Latin votes in California. And it was completely preventable, and it makes absolutely no sense for them to be voting for the Democrats 99% of the time because they have almost nothing in common with them. Why does any group of people who shouldn't vote for the Democrats do it anyway? And there's other examples all through the country. Yeah. I still don't understand why the Jewish vote hasn't completely swung away from the Democrats, given a lot of the shit they're doing.
Keep in mind, too, that it took somebody like Trump in some of these areas, like up in Michigan and stuff, to start swinging away a good chunk of the black vote.
Still not a majority, mind you.
Not a majority, but it's way more than they expected. I think they definitely were sweating.
Well, they thought that they had these were fully captured voting blocks, and I don't think that they should assume any such thing because
I mean it's propaganda. The propaganda wouldn't be necessary if they. I mean, well, how do I put this? The propaganda is needed. Let's put it that way. They can't afford to not have the propaganda, and that's the. I mean, unfortunately, they got lazy on their part, So
well, still under bold thinking. Okay, there was a story that you sent me, Geodes, which is this one: the California man who hid for 6 months in a secret room inside Circuit City.
California man.
Now, Circuit City shut down. Okay, so these are like abandoned locations, and Toys R Us also similarly shut down.
Yeah.
Okay, so he came along at just the right time. Lee Wainscott. She had recently ended her 20-year marriage and was juggling work and life as a single mom. One day in October 2004, John appeared at her church. He was funny, romantic, and the most sensitive man she'd ever met. The guy every girl would want. So he would show up, go to church, had his hands on toys a lot, for her kids, because he was just basically taking them from Toys R Us.
He was donating a bunch to the church as well.
Turned out he was an escaped prisoner.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, he was born in 1971 in California with legendary 87th Airborne Division. Manchester learned the skills of a paratrooper, rappelling, jumping from great heights, and handling weapons. At age 20, he got married and started a family. So he got deployed. Things happened. He escaped from prison. But with the fantastic skills that he had, hiding out inside like a secret room at a Circuit City was just not that hard. And busting into Toys R Us through the roof.
He made a fake door that looked like part of the wall of the Toys R Us that he then monitored with the baby cameras he stole from the Toys R Us to make sure that people didn't see it. He then would sneak out and steal like baby food and all kinds of other stuff to live off of.
Become unfucking governable.
And then
yeah.
He loved working at McDonald's. He stole $10,000 from them, as well as probably a bunch of burgers.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is what I call thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
All the rules and regulations of your municipality.
They're more like guidelines anyway.
Yeah, dating rules, occupancy rules. Yeah, it's all good. California man who hid for 6 months in a secret room inside Circuit City. Yeah. Now, I knew a guy who actually did something kind of like this, and he's working for the government, and he would just sort of take advantage. They put him on performance improvement plans, and as long as you're not insubordinate, it doesn't matter if you actually take action. You just have to agree to whatever the plan is, and you can stay on as a government employee for a long time, as long as you just avoid certain red flags. Well, this guy was living in his van and then sort of living in a government facility up on the roof occasionally. Other times he was hiding underneath like a raised floor. I heard all these amazing stories about the guy. Well, it turned out that a friend of mine had a relative who ended up being like ostensibly this guy's landlord for a while. And I heard about all of the weird government equipment that he took home from work. The world is such a small place, that I could hear from two different groups of people stories about the same guy and then realize, wait a second, we're talking about the same guy.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. So he would just drink 2 gallons of orange juice and then storm out talking about how the place is going to fall apart without him, disappear for a couple weeks. And then, anyway, man, there are some weird ass people in California.
Yeah. I'm just saying, Florida, you better watch out. There's a new guy coming up, and he's aiming for your championship belt. So.
Yeah.
No, Florida still wins.
Florida still wins
winning right now.
But I'm just saying, California is kind of becoming ungovernable more and more every day. So watch out.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Criminally insane. It's like if Arkham Asylum became a state.
Yeah, there you go. I see it.
Yeah. Serenity back?
I don't think so.
No, she's still dealing with dogs. I can't make fun of Gen Z people without Serenity here. It's just too important. So I'll have to do something else.
I did link a story in the chat that me and Functional could talk about a little bit, Harry, if you want.
Gen Z,
we have
is what?
What age? You mean what years are you talking about? I don't know. Serenity's our research department. I can't remember. It's younger. Geodes is not Gen Z. Aren't you like a millennial?
I am tail end millennial.
Yeah, I'm boomer adjacent.
I am probably more in common with certain members of Gen Z than millennials, but I mean it's one of those things where it's it kind of depends.
Yeah.
So I try not to think about it too hard.
All right. Well, here's how about something just sort of let's see, what the hell? Well, we'll do this. It's too bad for Serenity. She's not here. She's going to miss out on this. I found an amazing new publication that is full of nothing but crap. It is the worst publication because all of the articles are basically clickbait. It is pure trash.
You're saying it's worse than the Atlantic?
I present to you this story. Conjoined twin confesses he hid his true gender from his sister for 46 years. Wait, how? How is this even possible? They're conjoined. They're basically fused together at the head. And this guy's claiming that he had been trans for 46 years, but didn't bother to tell his sister who was connected to his head.
Enough. What do you need?
How? So George Chappell and his sister Lori, 61-year-old conjoined twins from Pennsylvania, have already defied significant odds. Doctors initially believed they wouldn't live past their 30th birthday. Now they're making headlines for an entirely different reason. Lori, an accomplished 10-pin bowler, again, so many questions. Okay, and an enthusiastic country and western singer are joined. George, an enthusiastic country and western singer, are joined at the head, but have always lived life to the fullest. How can you hide anything from a person who is literally connected to you at the head? Is this all just AI that generates this shit? Because this article makes no sense to me. This has to be AI that generated this, because there's no way that a real human being made this.
Have you seen journalism today? It's very possible. Who do you think the algorithms are learning from? These so-called journalists.
Yeah.
I would just think that if your sister suddenly became your brother for 46 years, you might catch on at some point.
Yeah.
This story makes absolutely no sense, but this whole publication is like this. Okay. It's just all crap. There's just nothing in here that is irredeemably bad. It's almost as bad as the South China News. The one with the submarines that are powered by that are propulsed by lasers and stuff. Anyway, screw this article.
Is there one on solar freaking roadways? That's the real question.
No, there's none of that. But what I was curious is if you guys, I have a meme here, or it's a cartoon. And I was wondering if you guys could give me a title or a caption for this. Does anything pop into your mind? What it's showing is Joe Biden with a walker heading to Marine One, and it's Operation Hide the Walker from the Press is in progress, is what somebody says. Because something popped into my head almost immediately, and I'm curious if you guys have anything. What I thought was, instead of Walker Texas Ranger, I thought Walker Stranger Danger. that's sort of what I was thinking about Joe Biden.
The one that pops in my head is oh God, more stairs.
Well, and Marine One doesn't have nearly as many stairs as Air Force One.
I mean, doesn't matter, Harry. It's just more stairs for this.
Well, just out of curiosity, why when they go to these airports doesn't Air Force One like nuzzle up to like an actual gate and use the umbilicus to connect? Is it because the security in the airport is just too hard to deal with, that it's just safer to have him walk up like this huge flight of stairs when he's all old and feeble?
I figure it's because they need the press to be able to record it, him going in or out.
Yeah, it's kind of been that sort of tradition to like have the pictures of, or now video of the president walking to plane or the car or whatever. Helicopter.
Yeah. Well, why do I have a thing here that just says plant-based? Well, I'm going to assume that I know what I was doing when I put it in the palette cleansers. Oh, this was for Sora. I shouldn't be showing this. Because it's that cat that she loves. You shouldn't eat meat. Don't worry, it's plant-based. That's awesome. Which plant? The meat processing plant. Damn it. I should have put a little Sora note next to this one. That's okay. She's not going to watch this show. I can show it again next week.
There you go.
So there's this one. Elon Musk respond after man builds fully functional Cybertruck out of wood for $15,000.
Functional.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think he did a pretty good job.
It's probably a lot safer.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
fact.
yeah, and if it gets busted, he can just put new wood panels in place. I think this looks pretty awesome.
Fun fact: I actually saw a Cybertruck today, and yeah, I know.
Was it broken or was it still functioning?
No, it was driving. I've never seen one before. It was weird. It was like a chrome box sliding across the ground.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere near those things.
Well, this guy did a good job. Look at the interior.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I guess this is a thing that he does. He likes building cars out of wood for some reason.
Hey, man, if it keeps him, he can do a video on it and keeps him employed and he has fun, go for it.
Yeah.
Although, to be completely honest, Assassin, depending on what, Assassin put, we never had desiccated corpse as a commander-in-chief before. And I was just saying,
not on my bingo card. Yeah.
Just depending on which conspiracy theories you listen to. No, he's not the first.
Yeah.
Not even second.
And the thing is, it's kind of gone in reverse because typically what happens is things escalate, right? So he started walking with the entourage to hide the air quotes walker. But remember how it all started, how he got into office by just disappearing and not saying, not doing anything. Yeah. And typically when political shenanigans like this happen and the advertising of political media, you do things in escalation. So he walks with the entourage, and then you think, okay, well, they're just going to stop doing these presentations of him walking to Marine One or Air Force One or whatever altogether. And then they're going to stop him doing, well, he's already pretty much stopped doing press briefs. He only does the odd, heavily scripted announcement. He's been doing a couple interviews, but it's like, it's damaging more than it's helping. And I think that's his influence in his own campaign as opposed to the people trying to pull his strings, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Biden.
I find it so weird.
All I know is I still see people with brand new stickers for riding with Biden. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Hey.
Yeah.
Let him. It's the joy of the voting system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. I had one more thing I wanted to show you. Actually, I have several things I wanted to show you, but there's been a number of these sort of Gen Z things piling up in the spreadsheet. So this is one that showed up today. I was fired from a new job in less than a week after I started. It taught me not every opportunity is a good opportunity. So,
and she's absolutely right.
At the age of 24, she ended up being the director of digital marketing for some company.
Oh, that was your first mistake, you dumb bitch.
What? What was her,
thinking
what was
at
her first mistake?
24, thinking you could be a director of something. Nah, honey.
Yeah. She highlights the importance of mental health and employee respect in the workplace. She emphasizes Gen Z's unwillingness to settle for toxic work environments. It's like,
yeah, they do.
You're in marketing. Marketing is the most backwards, regressive, painful part of any like business, like anything that's IT sort of thing, right?
Well, there's also the whole fact of like Gen Z is unwilling to put up with toxic work environments. You all have made social media even more toxic than it used to be. Like you all are absolutely for toxism as long as it's toxicity, as long as it's the type of toxicity that works in your favor, which is the way every generation was. So shut up.
Well, okay, so Serenity, who does the director of digital marketing report to typically?
I think CEO, isn't it?
Well, it's going to be like CEO or some C-level, right? Directly.
Yeah.
So if you go to work in this job at 24, clearly no significant prior experience. Like she got like a huge jump to get into this job. It's going to be a tough row to hoe. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun. And if you go into like a business where like the marketing part of it is like high pressure, fine. Be a soft Gen Z person and go take care of your mental health somewhere else. You could easily find somebody in their 30s who probably knew what the hell they were doing who might thrive in this job. But really, the position she's talking about, the turnover, I usually see these kinds of people in that job turnover 18 months usually-ish. That's not a long-term position. You either move your way up and out of that or you move on to another gig.
Well, it's usually also if they're 24 and they're put as the director of something, it's either a massively tiny startup that they were part of from the beginning, or they're being put in that position just this way companies can basically lie to their board of investors and say, oh yeah, see, all the positions are filled and this person's going to, and we have a director and they're not, and I guarantee you she wasn't making what someone of that level should be making.
I will say, in the Gen Z defense,
please,
we have an example of millennials that do this. Their name's Marisha Ray from Critical Role, but that's just a different thing.
Yeah.
Well, oh God, I'm gonna be really, no, I'm gonna do it. She fucked her way to her job because she wasn't getting the acting gig.
Yeah. Allegedly.
No.
Oh, it's proven.
Yeah, no, it's
Is there
very
a tape?
well known.
Did she admit it?
No, she's.
Because even if you said Kamala Harris with Willie Brown, I would still say allegedly just to protect the show. But we all know.
Can say allegedly. You can say allegedly, but the thing is that she was a two-bit actor from Lexington who came to Hollywood and attached herself to Matt Mercer, who even when she was first attached to him, he was a massively popular voice actor, and she's never been anything more than a background character in some terrible PlayStation 2 graphic video game.
Maybe you should make her the director of digital marketing.
I just remember I just remember how proud she was of achieving her role, and we were talking about, and I just remember how much you ripped into her. It was hilarious.
Creative director of Geek and Sundry. Way to go, honey! You were the captain of a sinking ship. Brilliant, you dumb bitch.
Geek and Sundry looked kind of promising when it sort of started out. Some of their content was actually not terrible. Like written by a kid, I thought was actually a great series.
Tabletop was good.
Did you ever see Written by a Kid?
Yeah, it was really good.
That was good because the creepy guy who that was the producer for Buffy and Firefly, Whedon. Yeah, he was actually in that, and it was funny as hell. I mean, some of that early Geek and Sundry content was actually pretty damn good.
Well, the minute Geek and Sundry started going down is when she became creative director, and that was when she was like 30.
Yeah, they crashed and burned pretty good.
Yeah, but I just felt, in the Gen Z defense, I thought I should point out, this is not
every
new,
every generation's done it. Every generation's just done it differently. This is just a repeat of the Silicon Valley bubble. that happened during around the time of Mark Zuckerberg getting big with Facebook. Is like, how many fucking Silicon Valley startups are dead? We're dead within 2 to 3 years because of this kind of crap, because of Gen X and Gen Z. And before that, it was all these places like Detroit and the Rust Belt up in New York getting fucked by people in the baby boomer generation who moved all the jobs out. This has always happened. This is nothing new. This is part of human existence.
Well, they were big enough that she was able to find out about them on Glassdoor and find out that it was a toxic place to work. But she took it anyway because she saw, oh, I get to be a director at 24. I'm going to do this thing. And she honestly should have ought to know better.
Well, it's one of those, it's like if it's a toxic work environment and you're getting the job at 24, that red flags everywhere, baby girl.
Yeah, because they basically burned so many bridges that they're willing to hire you. And you think somehow you're going to make it work? No, you're not. This has less to do with you being 24 and a toxic work environment than just, that company's just doomed because they are really toxic. But she's trying to overgeneralize this like it's some grand statement about the way the whole world works. It's like, no, most companies, even dysfunctional ones, don't hire 24-year-old women right out of school to be their director of digital marketing. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, like kind of going back to the point we were talking about at the very beginning of the stream, people are raised with a certain framework for the way they think things should work. They're like, oh, I'll graduate, high school and then go into college, get my degree, and then, immediately jump in and like get my managerial position or stuff like that. Because sometimes that's even what they're taught. By teachers who really shouldn't be teaching that kind of stuff because they don't know any better. And the problem is that they're given a framework. The framework fails because it's not realistic. And then these people just have to double down because they got nothing left. That's the problem. It's like, I feel bad for her, but at the same time, I'm like, she's just perpetuating her own misery at this point. So.
Well, I mean, and the thing is, and you see this the latest generation of this is like mid to late millennials, older Gen Zers with YouTube and social media and stuff like that. You see them all of them try to be Mr. Beast, but they don't understand that Mr. Beast is lightning in a bottle. And getting to that point is damn near impossible. And the fact that he did it, respect to him for the hard work he's put in, respect for him, but the bullshit he says where it's like, well, if you just do this, no, honey, you were a freak of nature. You are not the standard. You are a freak of nature.
Skep just showed up.
Tell everybody. Hi, Skep.
Hi, Skep. Hey, everybody. Hi, guys. I'm sorry I'm late. We had some run around we had to do. That just got in.
No, that's fine.
Good to hear that you're safe and doing good because we heard there was flooding down in Texas.
Yeah. In fact, it was related to that. It was a.
Okay. I figured it was.
Yeah. There was the band the junior high formal was tonight.
Oh no! Was everybody okay?
And everybody's okay. The parking lot is a disaster.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, so enough about that. It's boring stuff, but it's just pieces of life. That's all. I'm sorry I'm late.
No, it's fine. We were just talking about a 24-year-old woman who took a job as a director of digital marketing, and oddly, she didn't make it through the week, and she's trying to. Yeah, I know. Because it's like
I actually hired a guy who actually managed to bullshit me enough I made him an offer against my better judgment because my boss liked the guy, and I fired him 1 week later.
There you go.
Yeah. I torpedoed an applicant that everybody liked recently, and it was only at the last minute that I suddenly had this satori. It's like, you're asking the wrong questions, Harry. You should ask these questions. And I really liked the guy, and everybody really liked him, and it was pretty much a foregone conclusion. And I said, no, we need one more interview. And man, it
just came apart, didn't it?
It just came apart because I asked him very, very specific questions along a very specific line. Like, okay, tell me exactly what you're going to do. Tell me exactly, because you're claiming to have this experience.
Step by step. You're saying what milestones you're going to accomplish. Yeah. Tell me the techniques you will use to accomplish them.
Well, the weird thing was, is that everybody wanted to hire this guy. Nice guy, would totally be happy to be friends with this guy. Actually, not even unhappy about the idea of hiring him for some other position. It's just that he was supposed to be an expert. And for him to be an expert in this particular topic, which unfortunately I can't name, he needs to know more than I do.
Yep.
That's my definition of an expert. It's like, because if he doesn't know more than I do, then there's no point in hiring him. Because he's not bringing anything new into the mix. So if you're not going to find somebody who knows more than I do, then just give me a schmooey that I can train to do the operational part of it, and then eventually we'll hire somebody. Anyway, it's not important. But the idea of a 24-year-old.
Exactly what.
Yeah, but this 24-year-old woman, it's like you're fresh out of college and you've got a director position at some company, but she ignored the stuff in Glassdoor that said it's toxic. I'm sorry, this one's on you, sweetie.
Yeah.
You see,
there takes a certain type of personality in person.
Yeah.
Who can turn that kind of environment around. A 24-year-old directly out of college who's most likely can't. You need someone who's older, who's dealt with this shit before and knows how to the friend that Jordan Peterson always talks about, who he talked about would go into companies and fire people. Like, you need someone like that.
Marketing is actually hard.
Serenity. Consider look at what's on the screen right there.
Mm-hmm.
She was fired from her job as a director of digital marketing. Okay, after less than a week, she highlights the importance of mental health and employee respect in the workplace. Okay, not about getting the job done, not about being an expert at Agile and Rails and all the other things that you got to know what the fuck you're talking about, but the importance of mental health and employee respect, and emphasizes Gen Z's unwillingness to settle for toxic work environments. Oh, that's so sweet.
You'll get the same spiel I said a minute ago. Gen Z are some of the most toxic motherfuckers because there's toxic people in every generation.
Right.
Every group has toxic people. Gen X, baby boomer.
Yeah,
that's right.
Millennial, everybody does. Gen Alpha will be the same way. This whole idea that anybody's doing anything new is so mother effing naive. It's not even funny. But every generation does it. Like, my generation has their own version of hippies. Gen Z has their own version of hippies. Hippies didn't do anything or change anything, not much anyway. But it's one of those.
They do the same things. They do it in different ways. But you're right. The same urges, the same beliefs, the same drives are the same things that chase them through these behaviors.
I want to know how much she got paid for that week. That's what I want to know, because I would take a toxic level job for a week.
No, let me just give.
Yeah. Am I vested?
Yeah. No. There's something called a hush puppy that they give you when they can you, and the hush puppy is a big old check that you got to sign a release that says, I will immediately surrender my soul to Satan if I don't keep this agreement. And you always will sign that agreement.
And here she is blabbing.
What's that?
And here she is blabbing.
She's blabbing, but she's not blabbing about the actual. Like, she's saying it was toxic, but she's not.
Well,
saying
she's not saying which company it is, which is good.
Which she's at least intelligent enough for that.
Yeah.
But it's very kind of, like, funny, because it's like, I want to know. Like, I want to know. Oh, she even planned to quit, but was fired.
Serenity, she worked for that energy drink company that we spoke about earlier.
Those were energy tablets.
Yeah, those are okay.
Tablets. Watch.
Yeah,
get your shit right.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying she thought they were energy drinks, and they said no tablets, and then she said that's racist, and then it all went downhill from there. You know?
It would be funny if she was digital marketing director for OnlyFans. That would be hilarious.
That would be.
That would make me laugh my ass off. But anyway.
So since Skep is here, we can do something to sort of end on, which I want to talk about. So I found this YouTube channel, and you know how there's sort of the women wearing vintage clothes, right? So we have the Asta Darlings and the woman who has the
Astra
vintage.
Darling,
yeah, Astra.
I think it's Astra. I follow her on Instagram, but I don't pay attention.
You know, you've got all these people, and then you've got your fancy girls like your Bernadette Banners, and it's all slightly different takes on this thing, right? So in the world of women who dress up in vintage clothing and show up on YouTube, found a new take on it. Now, this woman started out by just finding terrible songs when looked at through like a 2024 lens. and she'd find like old blues songs that were just really raunchy. But she was acting like she kind of didn't get the joke. And at first I thought it was funny, and then she started giving Tom Lehrer songs the same treatment as she would give like the old blues songs, and it pisses me off. So here, let me give you a little sample.
It's like it's not the same.
We got it from Jim. We all agree it must have been Louise who gave it to him.
And look, she's acting shocked.
Who got it from Marie? And everybody knows that Marie got it from me.
Got it from me.
And she's got a thing that says "real song from 1953." It's not a real song. It's a real song in the sense that it's a song and it's from 1953.
Yeah.
It is a parody. It is a joke, and she's treating it like it's a serious thing. Now, maybe I'm just being a little too sensitive, but this kind of pisses me off. And I'm annoyed now because, you know, I love me some Tom Lehrer, and I kind of feel like she's kind of taking a shit on Tom Lehrer, and she's done a bunch of songs. This is like she's working her way through his whole catalog, and it's not like it's not like a fun thing.
Let me offer this as a mirror for you, Harry, because I'm feeling the same thing. She is not showing the respect that those immensely innovative and clever songs that were launched at a period of tremendous professional risk. He got fired at Harvard for the Vatican rag, and he picked up a gig at MIT like 2 weeks later. But even so, he actually did get fired for that, and he was a big time guy. He was at Los Alamos. He was one of the math guys at Los Alamos. I shit you not. He was a big deal mathematician.
But what's more important is he did that work for the electric company.
Well, yeah. My point in saying all that is that he was an amazing guy who deserves a certain amount of respect, and somebody clowning his work, somebody be clowning him, makes us mad, because it makes me mad too. And I feel that same clawing annoyance, just kind of going, I don't want to watch this anymore, and I don't like this person.
Well, it's the thing of like, remember the guy who got in trouble for the shirt that he was wearing after landing the probe on the
Mars?
Mars. Yeah. I thought it was the asteroid, my bad. But I mean, it's the same kind of thing. The only real difference I would say there, though, is that the woman actually had the audacity to, do that to somebody who's alive. I mean, this person is doing it to somebody who's dead. Like that's the only.
Well, Tom Lehrer is still alive.
Oh, he's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive. So here's her. I mean, you can sort of say like, here's her happy 96th birthday Tom Lehrer video, but she's, talking. She's basically just showing all the different things that she's done to it. But I still, I don't know. I feel like she's not really in on the. Oh, it's just driving me. I can't even talk. It's annoying me so much. I'm sorry.
I agree. That's kind of why I'm being a little bit quiet about this, because what he did, this is like somebody scribbling on the Mona Lisa. It really does feel like that to me. But it's a minor version of that. It's vandalism to his work, and it's vandalism to work that was interesting, innovative, courageous, costly to him personally, and pretty goddamn funny. And this smug little shithead mining his genius for clicks does not make me happy.
But that's the thing, is like, this is normal now. You see it, people doing
this internet thing? Where there's TV channels everywhere?
Stop for 5 seconds. I understand that you're on a roll, but stop for 5 seconds. The issue is that everybody does this. People do this with hating on Sony. People do this with hating on Disney. Yes, there is stuff to complain about, and with Tom Lehrer it isn't, because it's a joke, and if you're you're that fucking stupid. But she knows what she's doing. She knows, I guarantee you she's Googled Tom Lehrer and knows he's a comedian. She's doing it because she knows her audience are idiots.
You're right.
And she knows that. And that's the thing, is like, it's what Critical Drinker now does, it's what Mahler does, it's what everybody does now.
It gets the clicks.
Exactly, because they know they can get a visceral reaction. It's like the people, the Save Palestine morons. They're not doing it because they actually give two shits about Palestine. They're doing it because it makes them feel good, because it makes them look good, because they know they can hate farm clicks.
And it pisses
like that's
off
what
their parents.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what she's doing. She knows that she's going to get people to say stuff because, yes, some of the comments are going to be good, but like the top comment, it literally says he's a satirist, and look how many thumbs ups it has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like she knows what she's doing. She's completely aware, and that's the reason why I dislike her, because she's being disingenuous. If she legitimately didn't know, I would be fine with it, because it's like, oh, you're just stupid.
It's people, I mean, in this case, her, but it's people in general who want to make something about themselves because they've got, honestly, in my opinion, it's because they've got nothing else.
Well, yeah, because she's probably a deadbeat singer or songwriter or actress who never got anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a lot of the people who critique a lot of the who do videos about critiquing any kind of media now, they're failed writers.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people in the D&D sphere are failed writers who couldn't write a book because no one wants to read their book because their book is shit. It's just she's trying to make as much money as she can in the form that she is, and like the fact that, like I said, the first dude who looks like a neckbeard and is still talking back to her and saying he was a fantastic songwriter and cannot be overestimated because he's a satirist, like. And it's just, and people are going, no, you stupid bitch. And her videos don't even have that many views.
Yeah.
Except for a few. It's just, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, it's hate farming. That's all it is. It's hate farming.
Well, since Tom Lehrer put his stuff in the public domain,
sorry,
we can play Tom Lehrer stuff and not get in trouble. So why don't I play that, and then I can play a Tom Lehrer song for real, and that'll be our way out. We are going to stop talking, okay? And I'm just going to play this, and then we're going to be good. What the hell happened? Hold on. I'm just incompetent.
Oh my God!
No, you're
Boomer.
not. No, you're not, Harry. He's a Gen Xer, not a boomer.
There we go.
I love this.
Oh, good. This is a good one.
I ache for the touch of your lips, dear, but much more for the touch of your whips, dear. You see, you can raise wealth like nobody else as we dance to the masochism tango. Say our love is a flame, not an ember. Say it's me that you want to dismember. Blacken my eye, set fire to my tie as we dance to the masochism tango. At your command, before you here I stand. My heart is in my hand. Yeah. It's here that I must be. My heart
He's a master of
hear those
delivery.
savage beats.
Yep.
Yes, he
and
is.
go put on your cleats and come and trample me. Your heart is hard as stone or mahogany. That's why I'm in such exquisite agony. My soul is on fire. It's aflame with desire. Which is why I perspire when we tango. You caught my nose in your left castanet, love. I can feel the pain yet, love. Every time I hear drums, and I envy the rose that you held in your teeth, love, with the thorns underneath, love, sticking into your gums. Your eyes cast a spell that bewitches. The last time I needed 20 stitches to sew up the gash you made with your lash as we dance to the masochism tango. Bash in my brain and make me scream with pain and kick me once again and say we'll never part. I know too well I'm underneath your spell, so darling, if you smell something burning, it's my heart. Don't you take your from its holder and burn your initials in my shoulder. Fracture my spine and swear that you're mine. as we dance to the
That's
master
because
tango.
Thankfully, my love affair with Weird Al,
Yep.
I think it was my uncle introduced me. He's like, "Oh, you like Weird Al?" And like introduced me to Tom Lehrer when I was young, and yeah, oh man, it's so good.
Yeah, I still remember the first time I actually heard a Tom Lehrer song was the first time I'd ever been in a hot tub, and it was like a total California moment. You know, it's like outdoors in a hot tub, drinking wine coolers, listening to Tom Lehrer.
Yeah,
it was
doesn't get much better than that.
Doesn't get much better than that. Just hanging out with some friends and going, what the hell is this and where has it been all my life? You know, actually played on a record on one of those little portable record player things. You know, but
absolutely
don't let it fall in the hot tub or we all die. You know, that sort of thing.
Which, just so everyone in chat knows, he has a website where you can print everything and download everything from, but he has stated that he knows that the website will go down in the not too distant future. So if you want any of the songs, get them from there.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to do there.
Thank you.
If that thing's coming off a 20 amp circuit in a hot tub and just doing back end and the whole thing, it's not going to actually give you that much of a shock.
Yeah,
because
get nice
it's good. It's going to go kapoof, and that's going to be about it. And you won't even notice all the extra electrons briefly in the chlorine ions handing out electrons like crazy. That'll vanish in no time.
Yeah, I'm going to have to ask a question after we get off air.
Lisa just added Tom Lehrer to Spotify. Good job. I feel like we've accomplished something. If we actually introduce Tom Lehrer to one new person, that's good.
Absolutely.
All right, we should go away now. This has been your Minions of the Zoo for Saturday. Thank you, panel. Thank you, chat. Zoo is closed. Good night.